on Facebook, on YouTube, on social media. We say good afternoon from Trinidad and Tobago. We say good night based on where some of you all are located. We say good night. We first want to give thanks. Thanks to the Creator, thanks to the energies for having us here above ground today, for giving us wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, for giving us life, giving us strength, allowing us to enjoy the opportunity and favor. The favor of being on this earth, to experience, to collaborate, to communicate, to assist, to help, to lift up. We have so much to be thankful for our presence, because there are some that we need to pray for. We need to ask for support for. Those with help those without. For in giving, we will receive. So I say thank you for joining us this afternoon on the Third Empire. I'm Selvon Mitchell. Mr. Rollocks, Mr. Matheson on Matters of State, but they'll be joining us shortly. So in the meantime, while they uncover the ground, and the batsmen pad up and so on, the bowlers shine the ball, we would give an overview of how the play went in previous days. You know, yesterday we spoke of the ball of the Indian Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, in Trinidad and so forth, and the repercussion of how that ball is delivered and how the batting is executed. So we're good with that. We spoke about trade and how trade will embrace that opportunity that may exist with the Modi relationship. We spoke of a number of other things. We spoke about the pension issue and so on, the repercussion. I understand there was some movement of security personnel based on that decision. I have all the facts on it, so I wouldn't comment too much on it. Probably one of the other empires would have seen that play on the field, and we may be able to expand and comment in a more precise way. We still have the batsman from the Ministry of the People, Family Service and Social Development. I think that is Vandana Mohit, if I'm not mistaken. That batsman is padding up because there's a lot to address in terms of how we shift the paradigm and the role and responsibility of that batsman that would be coming out. How it impacts on the lives. You know, we talk about, you know, they say school violence, and I always say there's nothing called school violence, there's violence in the school. School violence, that is not on the curriculum of the school, so there's no such thing as school violence. There is violence in the school. And outside the school by persons of not a mature age. And what role that Ministry of Social Development play in addressing from the community level those incidents, the family structure, the family service and so forth. What role that minister and that ministry, that batsman have to play, and how the policy, so we look at the minister's overarching policy and vision, yeah, and what deliveries will come at that batsman and how those deliveries will be played. And those deliveries will be the societal ills. We'll call the ball societal ills. Single parents. Good afternoon to Mr. Fields. When I say single parents, I mean mothers and fathers. Single parents, and how is the community structured to support those families that exist in that way. those that are challenged by income, might be mother and father, but may be challenged in terms of income to support their family in a meaningful way. One may remember the genesis of the school feeding program and so forth, and how it was expanded and why it needed to be expanded really and truly. We'll continue with scrutiny. We'll look at and scrutinize public officials and why is it important. I hope the pavilion come in and let's have the conversation that asks the question, how is there a limit? We started that conversation yesterday. In terms of scrutinizing public official, we want to keep it a public official now, but everyone should succumb to a level of scrutiny. But for now, for this discussion, as we have these type of batsmen outside in the field, we'll continue looking at their demeanor, their character. We'll see if they make decisions with empathy, with ethics, or are the decisions self-serving, community or communal serving. We'll examine all of that when we expand on that. We'll take a little pinch and peep at CPEP because one of the batsmen, he hit a ball called CPEP. That's the ball that came out of the bowler's hand. And that ball, like it didn't drop. You know, sometimes I get the impression, you know, you can hit a ball in the pavilion and go out the pavilion and break somebody's car glass and something. So there's a little bacchanal who want to take them to court because, yeah, that ball break my glass. So on. And we have to see how that would play it out. I understand. From good source, so the conversation on CPEP may be somewhat, I want to use the word truncated, because I know we're going into some litigation aspect of it. And we wouldn't want to delve too much in that which has reached the court or where legal action to some extent is taking place. What we'll deal with is what is facts in terms of what is in the public domain in terms of documentation. I don't know if, I'm not sure if CPEP would have moved from its original mooring during the years from 2006 when the CPEP company was established. I have a draft contract that I will read from. Probably the contract was amended, but my contract is saying some things that what I'm hearing in the public domain, probably the contract of CPEP was amended somewhat to the contractors. You understand? So we had to look at that in its entirety. You know, I look at one part of the contract that says item 3 on the CPEP contract speak of payment. And I'm speaking about it because it's in the public domain and so forth. Well, okay, I have it. Let me put it this way. I have it. So I guess I'm a member of the public, so it's in the public domain. And it speak of payment. So in 3, in the CPEP contract, listen to me slowly and carefully. CPEP shall pay the contractor a monthly sum of whatever that sum is. Yeah? Verify attendance of workers. So CPEP company would do this. Performance of work as per site inspection. CPEP will do this as part of the verification process for payment. The contractor submission of all required reports and timesheet. But there's an interesting line at the bottom of all of that. And I'm saying, I do not know if the contract between CPEP, the company, and John Brown, the contractor, has changed. I'm just dealing with one that is before me when CPEP started. Probably it was amended, and if it was amended, I'm so correct now, I would like to see the updated version. But this line say an interesting thing. Because people saying this is not the practice, eh? They're saying this is not the practice, but I'm just reading from the contract. All statutory deductions an employee's obligation remains the responsibility of the contractor. I don't know how we want to interpret that. I don't know how we interpret that. Then it goes further. It says now, then we were saying the worker of the CPEP contractor who works with the CPEP is now employed with, but I'm looking at number 4. Section 4 of the contract that says this. The contractor shall employ community workers per CPEP guidelines. I'm going next one. Ensure all workers are registered with NIS and PYE. So, when my colleagues come, we want to expand on that. I don't want to run too far from it. I just want to leave that in the airspace for now, because we want to expand on that a little later and hear what the pavilion have to say, because there is a ball that was bowled and a batsman hit that ball. We want to know if we see a googly, a bouncer or a spin, and how we interpret this ball, or if the ball came from hidden hands and this, what I've read, has changed. I don't know. So I lay that as a foundation as we expand on what is taking place, but I'm saying there's some level of litigations and so that are taking place, so we don't want to delve too deep into it. We'll only comment on what is in the public space, in the public domain, as this contract is, and this is one of the original contract, and probably it has been amended, but this was the vision. I like to deal with, you know, sometimes you deal with the foundation, where it started, what was the purpose and intent, and sometimes we move from the mooring of what was the real purpose and intent, and we go all over the place, and then we get into what we call norm and practice, and norm and practice now become law. Because we're doing it so long, we're like the law now, you know, because we're doing it all the time. Yeah? So we have to see if norm and practice took precedent here now over what I suppose the statute is a binding contract, terms and condition. Or have we taken it to a position of the contract is just formality, man. You just sign that day and go and start, and we'll handle your stories. We'll handle your stories. More importantly, you know, people ask the question, oh, it's on a board, how do you fire the people? I will speak to a document that I hope, as we mature as a society, every citizen should have a copy of, should be aware of, to understand the roles and responsibility of government, the roles and responsibility of boards, the roles and responsibility of statutory organizations, and the roles and responsibility of CEOs. We pay them. So we can hire a set of people and do say know the job description. What are we doing? So we can himself hold them to account to penalize them when they go off course. You know why? Because we don't know the job description. But we hire them, you know. I hire the minister, I vote on the minister, and I the CEO there, and we don't know the job description. So we can't put measurements to know when they're going off course. And we'll get into that document just now. So the CPEP CEO, not the board, because CPEP doesn't have no executive chairman. So it's the CEO that would have engaged the contractors into a contractual arrangement for and on behalf of the government. The CEO. The chairman of the board can terminate the contract. The CEO is the one who have to write the termination letter So you don't have a board for the CEO to do his function. The function is part of his function to terminate, to award contracts, to deal with payments, to deal with strategic plan, to deal with structures, to deal with employment, and it's his responsibility to manage the day-to-day affairs of the organization, as any organization. WASA and who. There's no executive chairman. The only one I knew was Malcolm Jones, I think, was the executive chairman. An interesting line in the contract in terms of termination of the contract, and I'm just dealing with just reading the contract. I'm not interpreting anything. Yeah? I'm not interpreting anything. There's a clause in the contract, 2 clauses for termination of a CPEP contractor by the CPEP company. 2 clauses they have. Termination with cause. Of course, cause will come misconduct, negligence, violation of this and that, and fraud, and you do some racket. Cause. Without cause, and I feel this is where this thing happened with the termination. So the other part of the termination, and that's section 5 of the CPEP contract with the contractor. It have without cause by giving 30 days written notice by either party. Now, it never says when you do it without cause that you have to give an explanation by either party, because the contractor could come and say, here what's going on. I too big for this cutting grass thing. I feel I elevated. I getting some big work outside there now, the CPEP thing, and he could give CPEP company notice and leave. But he don't have to give them all of that, you know. He don't have to explain the contractor. Joe Brown don't have to explain it. He can give them, please be advised, in 30 days' time, I will be exiting this arrangement that we have, and he goes his way. Peacefully. Because that's what both parties agree to. Likewise, the CPEP company. And the CPEP company may be in a precarious position that says, I may not have the funding to pay it. I don't know. What have you? Because I know at some point in time, the CPEP work crew would downsize to fit within the annual budget of the country. So there is room for elasticity in terms of expansion and contraction, in terms of how many work crew. A government come in and say, look, I have no money. I'm looking for $3 billion to pay my bill. And they may want to review. They had a reason. But what I'm getting at, in clause 5 in the contract, termination, the clause calls without cause, speak of by giving 30 days written notice by either party. It didn't say with justification. With cause, speak of justification. Without cause, say, give me notice, you could go your way. I give you notice, you go your way. Now, we have something I always talk about is what is legal, and then we have what is ethical. And we could balance the ball on both feet of legal and what is ethical. And we'll go back to when the word recusal from cabinet because of what was being discussed, although legal, was deemed unethical. We have to be mindful when we use the terms legal and it can be today for Paul and tomorrow. We had to create standard in which we all want to live by. If we say that the fella did and those fellas do by recusing themselves because what we discussed was legal, but it wasn't ethical. We had to ask in our actions going forward in all that we do. Although it may be legal, we have to look for the ethical part of it. I'm not saying anybody's unjust or unjustified for what they're doing. I'm just saying we must stand on some pillar. We must stand on a pillar. Now, there's a fallout of a number of workers that work with the contractors that one may call collateral damage. But as a responsible batsman, you can't just hit the ball willy-nilly and damage a set of people in the pavilion and bust up the head and say, well, they sit down there. Well, my right is to hit the ball, you know. And yeah, I see a woman with 5 children there and I hit the ball there and it busts their head, but that's my right to hit the ball. We have to be very, very, very mindful how we look at it. But what is important in all that we do, it is how our decisions are communicated. Because a decision could cause hurt, anguish, discomfort if the messaging isn't done correctly. People shouldn't have to wonder why, when, how, and if, and maybe, and then allow for the propaganda to start. So you must look at messaging, especially as public official, your decision as batsmen and bowlers, both sides, batsmen and bowlers, your message mustn't be that speak of mischievousness. We must speak truth to the public and not look to score points. There are people's lives and livelihood involved in the decisions we make. My God, we have to be responsible, bowlers and batsmen. And bowlers, if you know you try something and it backfire, don't point finger. You tried something, you try a ball, you put some Vaseline on a ball and you bowl a ball with Vaseline. When the batsman now catch the ball, wipe it with a towel, throw it up in the air and bat it, you vex and say he playing the game wrong, you're not supposed to catch my ball and wipe off the glue, the Vaseline and bat it. If you know you did that, smile and say, hey, I get catch, you know. But the objective of the end of the day for the bowlers and the batsmen is to make sure the pavilion enjoy a match that is decent and fair. So if you know you did some shenanigans with the ball and the batsman in his sight seeing the ball played back, we both have to look at how this affects the pavilion, how that ball is played. Is both parties culpable to some extent because of the damage caused to one or two players, one or two spectators, I should say, in the pavilion? Then hold up your own, don't play pious. Don't. Oh, my hands are clean. Your hands are not clean. Man, know thyself. If you know you contributed, say, here we're going on. Okay, let us come together and see how best we could repair this in the interest, not try to score points. Suddenly, I haven't seen it really and truly, but 300 or 200 and something people a month before election get 3-year contract. Is that normal? Does this sound normal? Does it sound ethical? Does this sound above board? Does this sound kind of that suddenly 300 and something people contract suddenly up at the same time? Common sense will dictate there's something wrong with our formula. With 300 or 200 and something contractors contract. Let's be logical and commonsensical here. With 200 plus, so how many contractors contract? End at the same time and everybody get a 3-year contract renewed at the same time for the same period? That is something kind of strange because everybody wasn't hired at the same time. Shouldn't it be staggered? I could understand Joe Brown and Harry Jane was now, and Betty Lou and Mary Sue was a year after. Everybody was not employed at the same time as contractors. But suddenly everybody contract up and everybody get traded. So again, we could see a strangeness. I'm not accusing, I don't know. I'm just laying a foundation for conversation to take place. I don't know. I'm not there. But does it sound logical that all CPAP contractors were hired at the same time? And all contract ended at the same time? So all was renewed at the same time, coincidentally, a month before election or what have you. Isn't that kind of, let me be reasonable, you know. We must do some time to time, we must do what I like to call the reasonable man test. There's something called the reasonable man test. And man know thyself. You know, sometimes, man, you know, you play cat, but I get catch you, boy. Okay, well, let you fix it and move forward now. Let us do be wrong and strong and beat up and Zantiwa and all kind of thing like that. But what I want to point people to, is something that as a maturing society, as a society, and I listen to the callers on the afternoon, I realize we have a group of intelligent, involved callers who participate to some extent in the governance process by voting, I'm sure, and who have a view. But to have a view based on facts, one must have that ingredients called documentation or information that is true and correct. There's one thing I want every one of my callers and people in the pavilion and so forth to get. I said it on a program in this radio station some time ago, you know. State Enterprise Performance Monitoring Manual. I'm going slow. For who was closing the fridge when I say that, I'm saying it again. The State Enterprise Performance Monitoring Manual. Good? Manual. You get that? And it gives you a good sense of how the government operates to some extent, how the communication from the cabinet to the ministries, to the state board, the expectation of the CEO, the relationship the institutions have with the ministry and the relationship with the minister and the relationship with corporations. So you got to understand to some extent how government works to some extent. The issue we had many years ago, probably your grandfather time or grandfather's time and great-grandfather's time, and I said this, there were few persons in the public space that were of the ilk to understand law, constitutional law, government, governance, politics, and so forth. So it was fed off a platform. So the persons who would have had one or two letters after their name would have gone platforms and so and talk to the people and say we could do this and we'll build the bridge and this one do that and we gobble it up because you say yes, he bright. You know, long time in communities, long time communities, and some persons would know. The person everybody look up to in the community was the principal or the teacher because they feel they will know everything. As they have a problem, they run to the principal or the teacher who living in the village. Look, teach. He's supposed to know. So we looked up to those people back then because there were few with the knowledge that they have or they possessed. Now, as I said, information, knowledge is blowing in the wind. It's all over. It's in our face. Nothing is hidden. So our perception, our interaction, our engagement, yes, how we view, how we scrutinize, and we're looking at scrutiny a little more today, how we scrutinize officials should be way different and much different from our great-grandparent time because they didn't have access to the information all of us have today. So we can now hold public officials to a higher standard. You see where I'm going? So we can now hold public officials to a higher standard because of the availability of information. Now, do not limit that availability of information to the news, what they say on the news or the newspapers. It can be skewed based on who is disseminating the information. So research is important if you want to know, or if you, as some people say, if you got to know. Yeah? To form an opinion, it must be based on empirical data and information. Don't go because Harry, and plenty time I see it, you know, sometimes I see stories in papers and so, I look at 3 papers, I see, it's the same thing I read about, man. Because 3 of them have something different about the same thing and so forth. One say 20, one say 30, one say last night, one say 2 in the morning. Probably it was dark, so they say dark is night, and once. So you, if you're interested or you want to comment on it, comment from a standpoint of no. You see, I came here with a copy of a CPEP contract, and all I'm saying, this was the original contract in the moorings. I went back to the foundation of 2006 when the company was established and the contract that was so designed. I'm saying I do not have an amended one. If it was so amended, that vary from what I'm saying here today. Because some people are saying, which is factual, that here it say the contractor is responsible for paying the NS and PYE and so forth, and some no, the CPEP company does do that, not the contractor, but the contract CSA. So I don't know if there's a side contract of service between the contractor and the CPEP company, a contract for service, because when CPEP started, we have had external accountants assisting the contractors with these, because, okay. Let me fine-tune this a little bit. Let me fine-tune it a little bit. The original mooring of CPEP was to engage not the man with the BSc and the doctorate and the man who is the big businessman, you know. The average Joe in the community, because we wanted to build entrepreneurs. We wanted to build a cadre of entrepreneurs to grow. Yeah? The business sector to some extent. You spend 2-3 years there, you would have learned some things and so. So we wouldn't expect those persons coming in would know how to calculate NIS. NIS is a skill to calculate NIS and PYE and health surcharge and what have you. So the fella who's off the street, and he's the one that the vision wanted to help, the average fella who wasn't employed, but he have some capacity, he is in a position, he could learn, was the original vision. So he would know to calculate NIS. So we said, all right, we get some accountants and we say we put them together and we help them. It have shifted from that, and I don't know if there's a contract for service from CPEP and the contractor to provide that level of service that the external accountants were providing to the CPEP contractors when it started. I don't know. I'll have to investigate. Eddie? Could call me, you know, boy. We have a caller. Let me take this caller. A pleasant good afternoon, madam. Welcome.
Good afternoon. I was listening.
Caller, welcome.
Hello, good afternoon. Are you listening to me? Are you hearing me?
For some reason, I'm not hearing you, caller. I don't know what's happening here. Call back. Let's see. We have some technical difficulties. Yes, sir. Phone 1 and 2 is on. This is on. Ads are on. Everything is on. I don't understand. Let me try this caller. Caller, welcome. Afternoon.
Good afternoon. Are you hearing me now?
Like I have to call my director because caller for some reason I'm hearing you. Caller for some reason I'm not hearing. Let me try this. See if the next caller come through, so you know if it's a technical internal difficulty or it's external to the system here. But you all understand what I'm saying. Let me take this caller. Caller, welcome.
Okay, I guess it was just that caller.
Wow. Seems like we have an internal technical difficulty here, caller.
Oh, you're not hearing?
I'm not hearing you at all, caller. Technical difficulty. I'll call the director, master control. Mics, the phones are up. All right, 1, 2 is up, that's up. Don't know what's happening here. So we continue until the director comes and will assist with this challenge that we seem to be having here. I'm not hearing them inside the studio. I don't know why. I don't know why we're not hearing inside the studio. So until we fix that, I'll take the calls in a short. I'll take the calls in a short. Yeah, I'll take the calls in a short. Yeah, master control, master control. Give me some, trying another phone here. Caller, welcome.
Good afternoon. Are you hearing me?
Caller, for some reason, I'm not hearing you. I'm trying to get my master control. So call back. You just call back. I'll just call back. For some reason, I'm not hearing in the studio here what you're saying. So I can't engage you. I can't engage you. I can't engage you. So I'll continue until master control comes and review this technical difficulty I'm experiencing and so forth. And we go forward. And we go forward. But I'm saying, when we look at the whole structure of this, we will clearly, we'll clearly be able to elucidate where, if there is, on the law side, the right thing was done in terms of the termination of the contract, rebuilding of the structures of the organization. I know people were paid for a month, if I understand that right. I'll just get the facts on that. If they were paid for 1 month, I understand the workers that will be getting some 2 fortnights. So I'm of the opinion that within the next 30 days or so, the system structure, the board will be in place and so forth. The measurements for the engaging of contractors will be in place, and we'll take it from there. Really and truly, we take it from there with CPEP. But I want really and truly that most people to engage themselves with the State Enterprise Performance Monitoring Manual, so they will get a clear sense of what is the role and function of each of the organs of government in terms of how the executive, so we start here, this is not the parliament, this is the executive, and how the role of the executive relative to institution and how it is managed downwards, and the expectation was the role of the auditor when an auditor can be engaged. So it speaks to that. And once the pavilion avail themselves, then you could really sit down and help judge how the batting and the bowling is taking place, as the case may be. Yeah? Master control, I need some help, master control. I'm not getting my callers not coming through. It's up. Somebody keep turning things here. So our caller coming through. Caller?
Hey.
Welcome.
You hearing me?
I hear you now.
All right, I just wanted to make sure.
Yes. Who would be turning it? Oh, yeah. Come through. Oh. Yes, we hear loud and clear. We seem to be on board now. So Let's take it forward. People in the pavilion. The Republic of the Pavilion. Let's have the conversation. Master Control has corrected the shortcoming. I say welcome. I say welcome. Welcome, caller.
Oh, hi.
A pleasant good afternoon, caller. Welcome.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Well, we're upsetting the pavilion right now. It's been over an hour trying to get to Sugar on us, and it seems like our government officials have officially locked down all roads for the Prime Minister of India. I'm not sure if this is the norm when government officials come into your country, but it's truly an inconvenience. Even essential services such like ambulances are stopped in traffic. There's nowhere to go. Roads are blocked off. Is this, you know?
Where's this taking place now, caller?
So the ramp to go to Shogunas, if you're coming out of Port of Spain, is blocked from the base of the ramp. To come into Port of Spain, if you're coming from Shogunas, it is blocked off so you can't enter Port of Spain. Even if you head to Mountain, try to use passing by Grand Bazaar, cancel traffic is blocked off as well. It seems like you just stuck. And it's been so for about over an hour, maybe almost 2 hours now.
Over 2 hours, you people in traffic on the water. So this is the northbound lane of the highway you're speaking of then?
Well, north and south, so coming out of Mount Joseph is blocked, cancelled. Coming out of Port of Spain is blocked, so you can go onto the ramp to go to Shogunas. But also coming into Port of Spain on the opposite side is blocked as well. You can't go into Port of Spain right now. Totally blocked.
Scrutiny of public officials and the action and the impact of the actions of public officials and so forth. All right. Well, this is something we have to monitor, and definitely we have to comment on and look into.
Yes, and in terms of the CPAP contract, right?
Talk to me.
I'm not sure if there was a clause change at a point in time, but there was payments being made on behalf of contractors by CPAP itself to NIS and CYE.
But was there, okay, for that to take place, there must be a written arrangement. For because they wouldn't just do it on their own. There must be an arrangement between the contractor and CPAP for that service to be performed. Or the CPAP just say, I go in and do it. You don't do that.
Into that to see if there was a document annexed to the...
yeah. Now you're cooking, and that is why, like from the pavilion, we have to look at and measure, not on emotion, but on facts. So now we reach a stage now, we have to examine if there's something else that allowed the batsman in the wicket to make the decision the way he made the decision. You see, talk to me.
Batsman changed what he doing now because as of October last year, the batsman say, I'm not feeling to bat this ball again, I bowl into this. And now the contractors are now faced with paying their NIS alone again and having to correct the improper payment of the batsman before.
So a lot of movement, you see, and that is when you have terms and conditions and everybody decide to do their own thing. And the question, I will ask one question, is a contractual, it comes like a worker working in an organization. And the employer decide, well, you came to do, let's say you came to do typing. And they decide, well, you're a worker of mine, you know, so go in the back and start to mop the kitchen now because you're an employer of mine. But specifically, what are the terms and conditions that the contracts were engaged with both parties is what we have to examine closely. I don't know. I'll try and get, if there's an update, if there's an addendum, some annex, and so forth, of the original contract. Because I was there in the original mooring of CPEP when they started way back with some goodly gentlemen. So I don't know, it was just since 2006, eh? So I don't know if there was some changes, some amendments and so forth to it, and what ground people are standing on. But more importantly, based on the state enterprise performance monitoring manual, the CEO can engage in contract for and on behalf as part of his job description, and he can terminate contract. And this contract have two clauses. One, with cause and one without cause. Without cause is I give you notice for 30 days by either party and we separate ways as the case may be. Yeah? And that's what we're dealing with. And we're dealing with the facts before us, not emotion or how we feel and so forth, because everybody has different type of emotions.
Right.
And we are the young people that say, we can't go up in with feelings.
Like every 30 days notice, we take and we lost contract.
Right? But it's not a loss. But you had to ask yourself, ethics now. All the CPEP contracts were up a month before election. All 200 and something are completed. All them get a contract on the same time, that all was up at the same time and all was renewed at the same time.
That's impossible.
Exactly. So again, shenanigans. So the bowlers and them are bowling some ball and trying to play innocent. When they put Vaseline on the ball and bowl the ball.
Yeah.
So when the ball hit the bat and slip and bust the child head in the pavilion, they started to say, what kind of batting is that? Yeah?
Yeah.
Thank you, caller. Most welcome.
Bye.
Caller, welcome.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Thank you.
We had some technical difficulties. I do apologize and so forth, but it has been corrected and I'm willing, ready and able to engage the pavilion in discourse this afternoon. Welcome.
Okay, thanks very much for the welcome. No, I'm listening, but I must confess.
Ooh, I have to go for ad.
So do we. Let's go pay some bills on the street 919 FM.
Attention business owners. Are you looking to reach a vast audience and boost your brand's visibility? Then look no further. The Street 919 FM is here to help you shine. With over 170,000 followers on our social media platforms, our radio station is the perfect platform to showcase your products and services. Join us and let your message be heard by thousands of eager listeners. Contact us now to learn more about our affordable advertising packages. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity to connect with your target audience. Advertise with the Street 919 FM today. For more information, call 399-5959, 384-2232 or 378-1470.
This summer, give your child skills of a lifetime with Summer Boot Camp. Children between the ages of 5 to 17 come enjoy Children Iron Chef Competition. Your child will learn to prepare healthy breakfast, lunch, dinner, CPR, first aid, and conflict management. With field trip, your child will be given free apron and certification upon completion. Call 492-7397 or 336-4935. Institute of Health and Fitness Company Limited, located at number 79 St. Vincent Street, Tunapuna.
For the month of June, registration will only be $50 to book your space, and you can pay the tuition fee before the start of camp.
Ikaro, I am Alatumishe Ifabamishe Aganki, better known as MC Duke. And
every Monday between the hours of 9 p.m. to midnight,
I host a show called Orisha, The Way of Life, right here on the Sheet 919 FM, where I have guests passing through from the Orisha Ifa Baptist Diaspora to educate, edify, and inform you, the listening public, about Orisha Ifa practices. So remember to tune in
every Monday between the hours of 9 p.m. to midnight
for Orisha, The Way of Life.
We rollin' big when the jackpot hit. We rollin' big when the jackpot hit. We rollin' big when the jackpot hit. Play way fast cash, that is the fit. We rollin' big. Fast cash and play way take win. No extra spend, just vibes and luck. Play way and fast cash turn up. We rollin', yes we rollin' big. Fast cash and play way take win. Mega mix or monster pick. Jackpot from 10,000 quid.
Jackpot starting at $10,000 have now been added to NLCB's Playway and Fast Cash games. Wager on Playway Mega Mix or Fast Cash Monster Draw for a chance to win the jackpot after every draw. Don't miss out. Visit NLCBgames.com for details. Players must be 18 or older. Please play responsibly.
Get hot this summer
Oh no, we mean H-U-T, as in hot days mean hot deals with Pizza Hut. Get one large pizza plus single breadsticks for only $135, or go bigger with two large pizzas, family breadsticks, and cinnamon rolls for just $290. All your favorite pizzas with all the toppings you love all summer long. So head to the Hut and get your hot deals while this offer is super hot. Pizza Hut, now that's delivering.
They did it. See, results are in. And Pizza Hut is bringing the big bites for the big results. Celebrate with our all-you-can-eat lunch buffet. Just $25 for C students on July 4th. 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. only. Adults $55. And kids under 5 eat free. Conditions apply. Come hungry. Leave happy. Only at Pizza Hut. Now that's delivering.
Blessings in the wonderful name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. You are invited to listen to the Final Hour broadcast heard every Monday from 12 midnight to 5 a.m. in the morning on The Street 919 FM radio. Here my mom, Pastor Helen Garcia, and myself, Pastor Valentine Garcia Jr., preach the Word of God to the elderly, youth, and children. We can be contacted at 629-0113 or 623-8444. The church is located at 26 Prince Street in Port of Spain. We look forward to you joining us. God bless you.
As my life I lay it on the altar, as my life.
Big up to all the C students, you did it. Whether you're celebrating big wins or just proud of the journey, KFC is here to crunch with you. For one day only, this Friday, July 4th. Get 7 pieces of chicken and 3 sides for just $99. Available via all ordering channels. Celebrate new beginnings with KFC. It's finger-licking good.
Tune in to The Street 919 FM every Friday from 9:15 a.m. to 9:45 a.m. with Kingdom Health Services, situated at number 125 to 186 Eastern Main Road in Tunapuna. For the program, Health and Healing, merging the old with the new, with Mr. Brent Diet. For more information, call 318-7471 or 484-0141 or 360-4100. It's all about Kingdom Health Services on The Street 919 FM.
Join the winning team with Pastor Alkaline John
every Tuesday from 11:05 a.m. to 12 noon and every Thursday night from 8 to 9 p.m.
live on The Street 919 FM as he talks about Lviv, the power of 5 fruits, one of the most powerful antioxidant supplements on the market today. The 5 superfruits in Lviv are mangosteen, acai, pomegranate, goji, and nuni. These fruits have a positive and profound impact on human health performance and disease. Join him as he gives live testimonials of the Lviv healing powers. To get more information, you can contact Pastor Alkaline John at 516-286-7079 or you can visit his webpage at www.alkalinejohn.com. Remember,
every Tuesday from 11:05 a.m. to 12 noon and every Thursday night from 8 to 9 p.m.
live on The Street 919 FM.
Share the live. Share the live. The Street 919 FM on Facebook and Instagram. Share the live. Iowa George on Instagram. Share the live. Iowa TV and Street TV on YouTube. Share the live. The Street 919 FM.
We are back. We are back, caller. I'll take this caller. Welcome, caller. My apologies for my tardiness. Welcome. Welcome. An ad came up on us there.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I didn't want to lose my train of thought, but anyway, but it was good. I want to ask you a question. When was CPEP born?
The first note was, I think, 2002, and then the CPEP company was established, I think, 2006, if I go back in my notes, 2006.
So 2002 we had CPEP.
Yeah, in terms of it's not the CPEP company. CPEP company was established in 2006. The company was established, but in terms of cabinet note.
CPEP.
Yeah, go ahead.
In 2006.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's what you're reaching from. I can't remember. It's that original.
Yeah, there's a contract how it started off, the vision that it started with in terms of the roles and responsibility. And what I'm saying is that this is where it started. I don't know how much it has moved away from that structure. Okay. So I want people who in the know and not emotion, who have updated contract or arrangement to speak to that.
Right. But when you saw where you saw the contract, who was it signed by? Was it on the ministry? And it came. What are you reading from? I'm not talking about what.
There's the CPEP company and the contractor, not the ministry. The CPEP company engaged the contractor. The CPEP company would engage the contractor.
And our CPEP company is under who? Who is the owner of CPEP company?
The government. The government.
Right. So part of the government, what part of the government sees about that? Works or something?
I don't know. It moves around. I think it's under rural development right now. I believe rural development, Ministry of Rural Development.
Okay, but but it would be nice if you or somebody, because I don't like to hear, like me how I don't know. I don't like to hear from people who don't know.
Exactly.
Like I would like the owner of the ministry, who in charge of CPEP in the ministry. It would be nice to hear from him with a phone call. I know they're busy now, but I'm not talking about now, but I know it would be nice to hear it directly from the people involved.
Well, I know
the people involved.
Yeah, the media would have tried, but I mean, they would be under, I suppose, gag order or directive as to what to say. So the minister will be the face of what is taking place with that, which he has been speaking about that decision, what has been done, what will be done. So the minister have been in the public space speaking to it and so forth. I was just dealing with the nitty-gritty of the internal arrangement of the terms and conditions in terms of what is the vision. This is what I'm saying.
Yes.
Communication is important. We need to know so people wouldn't be guessing and being what they call the feelings.
Right, and that's what I really don't like, the kind of guessing when I don't know, and I don't know if it have an annex, and I don't know if something was added on. So but anyway, that's all I wanted to do with the thing, what you read.
Yes.
Right.
Good.
And you were, but one thing I want to not correct you, to tell you. You said we don't know, the people nowadays know, well, they feel they have a lot of information, but you were saying years ago in your mother, father, grandfather, my days, in our old time days, we weren't,
it wasn't as prevalent as now. It wasn't as prevalent. You couldn't press a button and find out, okay, you can get a budget speech.
Right, it might not have been prevalent, but to me now, it's not only, it's too confusing, because now it's over prevalent. You have too much, you have too much bacchanal now, because in our day, when before PNM was PNM, before they started, a man called Eric Williams stood up on a platform and said what he wanted, what he going to do, what he whatever. And to me, we were more informed than now, when they don't know who, and I don't know where, and I don't want to go by, and have 15 different companies and 20 different men. In that day, when Eric Williams stood up, and he went from village to village, before you knew anything about PNM, he went to the people. I'm talking about every nook and cranny. I'm sure you knew that he went. He didn't stand up and say, I'm going to do that, and hope, he went to every village. And then we had a university in Woodford Square. So the common man was well educated. He went to university in Woodford Square listening to the speakers, right? So you were more informed then, because they didn't have the confusion and press button and he back and he press the wrong button.
So what you're saying, the information we have now is a overkill, too much.
And it's such a damn say. They say because when we heard Eric Williams say, not a damn dog bark or whatever, who don't breathe, you know he got it from Eric's mouth. It was a man say that he meet another man, and his uncle tell his sister's father that Eric Williams said. It was not so. We know out of his mouth spewed what he had to say, and he spoke the language.
I'll give you a misinterpretation. You know, people go about saying Eric Williams said money is no problem and so forth. And I want to show you. You heard that saying, right? Where they say Eric Williams said that money is no problem.
I didn't know Eric Williams said it.
Yeah.
I heard people used to say, money and no problem, but I didn't know it came from Eric Williams.
And what's interesting about that conversation was he was really speaking about at an event about billing something, you know. And people are where we getting the money from, and he said money is no problem. But the money is no problem wasn't a hablash statement. It was specific to something that he was asked, that he was responding to. Interestingly enough, how it would spread down the road and so forth. You know, and we go back to interpret when you talk about recalcitrant minority and so forth, what exactly you were speaking to and so forth, yeah? So thanks, Eriko. Always a pleasure hearing from you. Always a pleasure.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's always a pleasure hearing from you all too and getting some information.
You are too kind.
So
Thank you.
I listen for people who in the know to call.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Likewise. Thank you. Good one. Good. Excellent. Excellent. Caller, welcome.
Yeah, good afternoon.
A pleasant good afternoon, my friend.
Same to you. The contract that you have there, a copy of that contract between the CPEP company and contractor, is that available? Could be accessed on the internet?
I don't know. I could find out. I could check. I know the contract will be on the internet.
All right.
I must find out. Good question. Let me take note of that. Let me see if I could get that on the internet.
The copy that you have, I heard the persons referring to clause 15.5. That document you have contained that
it have a clause. It have a clause 5. Clause 5 in this one is the termination clause.
Is there 15.5?
No. 15.5. Let me see. No. So what I'm saying is that I have to get and see how it morphed into what, because as I said, a stranger, because I know what people are saying that is not in the original contract is factual, because I actually know some persons who are engaged in it. Yeah? But what I try for people to understand where we started from and how we end up where we end up today with all this confabulation and so forth in the arrangement and so. Yeah? But it started as a smooth, easy-going thing with a clearly defined arrangement, and then it started to get gray and twisted and winded and so forth. So sometimes that happens with institution or government having a different vision for something and they amend it as the case may be. But that's where it started.
Yeah, I cannot fault the newly installed government for not, publicizing the documents and whatnot. But something is we're in 2025. And I believe by now, people ought to be able to access those documents. If I go to England, I could access it. If I go to America, I go to Canada, I could get all those documents. And I hope, I trust that the government will open up. They will be transparent and more transparent and open up the information to the people. So people, because if I'm listening to you and if you didn't come here, I don't know. But I believe I must be able to go onto the internet and probably get those. The ordinary man, everybody here should have access to these things.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you don't...
Someone is telling me that the contract is on their website, but the website is down right now. Someone now tell me that the CPEP contract is on their website.
Yeah. Because what I want to say, one of the fallouts are when you don't disseminate the information to the wider population. You open up for mischief.
Exactly, you are correct.
And misinformation. Because we don't, and people all about sitting down on chair all about and conference and the media and all manipulating the information and whatnot. So I'm saying I hope, I trust that this government would make all in the future, try to make information much easily accessible to the population.
Agreed.
So people would not be able to bamboozle and mislead the people in this country. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Howard.
Yeah, agreed. Thank you, caller. Thank you. I must say a pleasant good afternoon to Empire Rolex. Umpire Rolex for joining us after he has completed his matter of state. We have a caller. Caller, welcome.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Lawakita here.
Hey, welcome, my friend.
Yeah. Okay. Tell me if I'm correct. I was hearing you stating a while ago you were there when it was conceived.
I wasn't part of that ministry, but I was in government, and we had some meetings and so on. I was in a separate ministry, but so I was appraised of and know what was taking place on my sister ministry.
Okay. So it was just an observer with the CPEP. Because CPEP, I happened to be reading in UV some years ago, and during the time of when Mr. Martin was the Prime Minister.
Yes, that was the time.
And just out of the blue, I read and just to the CPEP, well, this is CDEP came up on me. Now, CDEP is a same environmental cleaning exercise that was done for the Aborigines by Kevin Rudd, who was the Labour Minister in Australia at the time. Because the Aborigines in Tasmania, they were very upset about the conditions in terms of the environment with bush, grass, and they summoned Kevin Rudd and he went. And on the spot, he formed this environmental project and he called it CDEP. Right? So apparently it seemed that Mr. Manin or somebody working with him came into contact with him and they came up with this CPEP thing. Right? Because before it was local government people who were cleaning the shrubs and the bushes and the environment. Right? Now they got Mr. Manin extended into contract, which varied from the original moorings of the CDEP or the CPEP. And apparently that's the price we're paying for this now. Right? Right?
I hear you. Right? I hear you, caller.
Because when somebody checked for me, they said the CDEP is not, well, after the government and the Labour government went out of office in Australia, the incoming government squashed this CDEP, so I don't know what they came up with it. Right?
Yeah, because it would have passed through three executive, it would have passed through the Manning executive, the Bissassa executive, and would come around to the Rowley executive, and it come back to the Bissassa executive again. So within those three previous executives, there would have been some amendments and so forth. Under the Bissassa executive, we had a uniform where I understand CPEP provided the uniform, all these green coveralls. So
no, that's the PPE. That is part of the OSHAM stipulation.
Right. Yeah. And so I know there were some changes and it morphed and so forth into other things and so, yeah? But what is important is how we communicate to all and sundry what is really happening. So in doubt, there's always mischief when there's doubt and the facts not on the table. Yes, so we have to start bringing out the facts now. So here's where we start. Let's decide how it starts shifting down the road. In 2006, this is what it was. What happened in 28, 29, 2010? What happens and so forth, how we went down the road, yeah? Thanks, caller. Excellent contribution.
Before I go, I also want to mention we had this same make work programs. When the NARU came in 86, they sent home everybody from the dude, and they changed the program to LID.
Exactly, and then we went to what URP after.
LID went to URP.
Yeah.
Right, and it stayed URP up to now because one of the core differences in LID was that they had this estate rehabilitation program.
Yes.
Where they rehabilitated a lot of citrus plantations and all this kind of thing. Right?
Yeah.
Right, and the labor was using that instead of cutting grass like CPEP.
So probably, I'm glad you say that, you know, because you tickle a part of my mind that says, because I understand reforestation program was affected too.
Well,
Yeah. So probably the government is looking at having one organization with an overarching responsibility for both, and sort of merge them. I don't know what the vision is. So I don't want to speculate, but there must be a vision or end in mind. It haven't been communicated. I think that was causing the chaos. And without proper information, there's doubt, there's mistrust, and there's chaos. So probably that's their vision, why they shut down both and say one institution could manage all of this, you know, with a overarching responsibility for the environment as a whole. And environment include the management of flora and fauna, planting the trees, cleaning the drain, and so forth, with one mandate really and truly, and one management. That probably the vision. We don't know. It haven't been communicated. So, but I believe deep down inside that the vision is one that will benefit all in the long term.
Yeah,
I doubt the government intention is to penalize or persecute anyone in any way.
You make a central authority for the environment.
Yes, brilliant. So that could be a vision, a part of the overarching vision that they see.
Yeah.
And then within, by month end, everybody will be copacetic and understand where it's going.
Yeah.
But we tend to be partisan and get caught up in hype.
Yeah.
And feel them against we and them and so forth. But again, something was buying to a bigger and a longer term vision for all. Yeah, and not some, not a selected few. As you know, one caller say, and we say it a few times, that is only corruption when you're not involved in it.
Yeah? I see everybody want quick action like Speedy, like the character they call Speedy Gonzalez. So,
thanks, caller. Thank you.
Okay, good.
My brother Rolex, the floor is yours.
I was amazed to see on June the 27th, over 10,000 lower-income CPEP workers lose their jobs when over 300 contractors were terminated.
Over 300, I keep trying to get a figure.
Add to this, hundreds of WASA workers not having their contracts renewed, land settlement agency contract workers put on the breadline, and many more fired or contracts not renewed. Further, we are seeing high office holders like Central Bank Governor and the WASA CEO and executive management being unceremoniously terminated without any type of due process. In all of this bloodletting, with an inordinate amount of lower-income workers now without income and probably in an extreme state of worry and concern, I have to ask, where are the unions? An outsider looking in would be shocked to know that this injustice is being perpetuated by a coalition of government with the trade union movement as a vital member. Having the unions been neutered, now they sit in expensive suites in ministerial chairs, earning the same increased exorbitant salaries they previously cried down. Who is there now to fight for the workers' rights, now that they are part of the very government that put 10,000 people on the breadline in one day, with no alternative payment or opportunities in place? Unlike petrotrain workers, who I see are being compared to CPEP workers by government apologists, there is no 2.7 billion in separation packages to be had. These single mothers and fathers breadwinners, earnings $1,400 a fortnight, and others in other similar circumstances, have nothing to get to make ends meet. What a win with the UNC, which I'm sure many of them voted for, etc., etc. This fateful day, which would live in infamy in this country's history, will be remembered for two reasons. Apart from the scale of its impact, one is because it happened with a government in which the unions formed a vital coalition partner. The other, their silence on it. The question must be asked, has the fate of many been betrayed for the benefit of a few? Is it in TNT that under this trade union supported government, to reference George Orwell, all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others?
Caller, welcome. Caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Afternoon, man.
No, I listening to that you're reading out there. You care to share where you're reading that from, Rolex?
That's the Daily Express. That's letter to the editor.
Letter to the editor. Who is the person writing it?
I didn't recognize the name because I just screenshot it because I didn't really, pay attention to the author.
You see, all of that sounded nicer if it didn't have other factors to consider.
Go ahead.
You see, the same government who is pretending, the opposition, the current opposition, who is pretending like they care so much about these people and the fact that they on the breadline, whether it's temporary or for whatever time period. You all didn't give these people a better position or sustained employment. You responsible for the, or partly responsible for what we find ourselves in. Because if they wanted, they could have structured CPEP in a much better way so that it wouldn't be so easy to just get rid of all these workers by just terminating contracts. And the thing about it is, the same people that you're calling to put on the marching shoes, when persons in the country wanted to march, the same opposition would have taken steps to lock up the square, the public place. And it would do us well in Trinidad and Tobago if we educate ourselves to a point where we don't need to have an opinion based on the political parties that we choose to support. Because you see it coming out from all quarters. If this exact thing was done under the PNM, you would have heard noise coming out from the UNC camp. Same as it is done under the UNC now, you're hearing a lot of noise coming out from the PNM camp. But it's not really, in most cases, a genuine care. It's just noise because people have a mouth to speak. Because the fact remains, if the people had their teeth crossed and their eyes dot, they would have a better case to take to the court, not so. But when more than 6 years, you didn't do what you're supposed to do. You gave the government grounds to take that type of action. People really need to educate themselves in this country, and stop being used by the politics and political people, politicians, time and time again. And you are locked on.
Thanks, caller.
Yeah.
There's a saying coming out of the Cuban Revolution by Fidel Castro. Castro said, "Dentro de la revolución, todo derecho. Contra la revolución, ningún derecho." Within the revolution, you can do anything. Against it, you have no rights. And this statement is in the context of dissent. How do we deal with dissent? Now, traditionally, dissent puts us for and against. But that is a very, from all evidence, in other developed places, that is a very immature view of politics. Because we've been talking whole week about what is going on with Starmer. And the fact that he faced 102 of his own Labour backbenchers saying, we are part of the party, but we disagree with this. You have to reform that welfare bill, edit it, go it over, otherwise it will not survive. It's the same thing in the US Senate, where not because you're Republican, even though by convention you agree, you have the right, and has been openly so, to disagree. As a matter of fact, Republicans have supported but disagreed.
Well, I think in those societies, what the decision are based upon how that, whatever law it is, impact on their constituents,
Okay.
So they decided to represent a group of people, and if that law, yes, impact negatively on their people that they represent, because they go to the people and consult, they vote against it. So where some like groupthink, well, that is where we're going. Although your people will suffer because you might be an MP for a community that's highly dependent upon, let's say CPEP, let me bring it home. Let's say your community, based on whatever demography they belong to, are highly dependent on CPEP. And if you're a good MP, you would know the make up the framework of the employment class in your constituency if you are a good MP. And if your constituency is largely dependent upon that type of employment, you as one other say, hey, I agree with that, you know, it conform with my people and the mandate they give me to look after them. Or, I keep saying with this whole thing, and I think our executive, our leaders are failing in terms of proper communication with the people. Don't have people guessing, and without information, everybody go on feelings. Why think, why believe, he don't like me, he don't look like me, and all kind of thing.
Well, my bigger point is this. The ideology is different, apart from what you have said, which is taken to be very true. The ideology says that I can be part of you, but I can disagree. Yeah. And it doesn't make me separate. It does not mean that I am opposing you. I disagree with you on this issue.
Yes. Yeah.
I disagree with your handling of the issue. Yeah. You may have all right and all intent, and you may have all power, as a government in power can. However, how you execute, I do have say.
Yes.
And I may say I disagree. And that may not change the outcome. I may not seek to pressure you. But I can definitely say how I feel. Or I can definitely say, in my view, what is the right thing and what is the wrong thing.
Yeah, we haven't developed as a culture, and you'll never see that hardly likely. I think one Gillian Lucky under Pandey administration had a different view and said it, I think, under these batsmen when they were bowling. There was a different view because Rai Rugby or something like that, his name, had a different view. And so, and you say, well, this is my view. I hear what you're saying, but I don't agree with it. And as a man know thyself, I don't agree with it. And so, but I do think we mature politically or emotionally to really accept that here go along with me. We feel
because we have been saying before now, from the time this story broke, that the batsman for Labour
communicate,
has a role to play.
Talk to us
in explaining what has happened, in breaking down what has happened. The writer of that article, I mean, his political prejudice is irrelevant.
Yeah, his petticoat was exposed here to some extent. But what he did really is put what happened on the surface.
Yes.
Is up to us to discern now.
Yes.
And say, okay, yeah, we know all those things happen and so forth. The question is government right?
But I think his sentiments are trite and true.
Yeah.
Simply because, as we discussed, given all that has happened with workers and all the promises and overtures made to workers, Labour has the responsibility of guarding those promises. And if or when they can or cannot be fulfilled, their role is to go to the same people who they asked to support them, because we wanted a change according to what they said, and explain here now, this is how it go, or this is how it will go. Now you may even have to take licks for it. You understand? But you don't get sore throat. You do have a role. You do have a role and you do have a responsibility. It may not even change the outcome. Good, because Natuk has come out and said things. I do not know how much leverage Mr. Anisette has. He was part of it, and I still figure him to be part of it. You see, our partisan and our very polarized thinking says that he can't be part of it. People will say they fall out. They fall out already. Watch. Because we disagree.
He have a view.
He has a view.
He's still my friend. He's still part of
that don't mean we fall out.
So mommy and daddy don't argue then. Brother and sister don't argue then.
That don't mean we fall out.
Right, exactly so.
There are players who will tell the captain. And let us take our mind back to the bowling side.
Yeah.
Remember, we accused them of the same thing. We accused the bowling side of not having the fortitude to say to the captain, Captain, I don't think this is the right call. Captain, you're the captain, we respect you. But this is not right. It does not feel right. It does not look right. So Labour and the unions have a very tight rope to walk. Very, very tight rope.
The question begs, and we see we're not in the inner circle, and in the absence of communication coming out, we could only speculate and presume. I don't want to use the word assume.
Yes.
Because with a decision like this, I believe Labour would have been consulted to some extent of the impact this would have on Labour. What would be some solution in terms of bringing harmony back to the workers, or some peace of mind back to workers? But again, in the absence of communication, we can only speculate, because I want to doubt very much. Deep down inside, I'm saying it, I'm very optimistic.
You're very optimistic.
That the batsmen, them, they shut it down because they don't care about people.
No.
They have never.
That is an unsafe assumption.
History would demonstrate that the captain of this batting team cares about people. Yes, I know that.
I do agree.
So I'm not too worried, but I'm feeling if it's a structured government, an organized government or organized executive, they would be looking at a position of creating an institution that could be more effective at delivering on the service that we were doing.
No, people still have to be realistic, and understand that Labour is in government, but Labour is not governing.
Exactly.
that is part of. Those are the facts.
Yes, they're part, and they have minority vote too.
Very minor, as a matter of fact. So you have to know your place. And your shoe size, they say.
So it's not that Labour is saying that. Labour could say, but if you come to a vote and you have 20 people and you vote, well, Labour lose the vote, but Labour had their voice. But again, they're in a democratic environment. Yeah? Where the majority look at what is in the best interest of the whole.
And the captain has been allowing the respective batsmen to do their thing, which is good, which is perfect, because you don't want it to be
micromanaging.
Me, I. You don't want it to be the I Man show. We have always complained about that type of leadership, and let us look at the bowling side. That's what we said was the issue. So now that we have a different style of leadership, people are still curious.
It's only what, 2 months?
It's a pretty young.
When this contract thing was last week?
Yes.
So less than 7 days.
Yeah.
And we beat it.
A little before.
Yeah.
Well, we know the fire behind it.
Yeah, but if it's 7 days ago and they said, look, we will pay you the month, and we'll pay the workers the 2 fortnight that is to come, as the case may be, then what? Let's wait and look at the outcome of what is. Are we trying to influence the outcome to some extent?
Well, politically, the bowling side is making a lot of maneuvers.
Yes.
We might interpret that as folly, but I disagree to an extent. You have to keep the batsman on their toes. That's part of the game too. And you don't get that. You don't do that by kissing them. no kissing. We playing a game here. Good. You have to face the ball. Sorry. Just let you know in the wicket. Something fly over your head. You duck. Let you know in the wicket.
But that ball that was ball that the batsman faced now, and they put a lash on the ball. You feel a ball had some Vaseline on it and so forth. It is a funny ball.
If you look at the attorneys who send the letter, well, we know what team they're on. I will say a brilliant stroke. I don't know how successful it will be, but I don't think it's about the success of the matter. Remember, they have an agenda.
Optics now.
They have Trinidad. We love you. Come back home. So if you read in the script, that is what any sensible opposition will do. Come to us. Come here. What happened to you? Something bite you?
We are here for you.
We're here. You had the Vaseline? Come, let me kiss it for you and it will be okay. It is politics, but the pavilion must not get distracted. That's my issue. The pavilion must not be divided. In good politics, in the old talk, in the pecan, you know, nobody ain't vexed with nobody. It's not that type of relationship. Because again, we are accustomed seeing historically us versus them. You versus me. And we think very polarized. When you have experience in this more than me, when you go by the bar or go by the little cafe where there is meat, careful you see the two teams. Careful you see the two teams having a drink after
Drinking from the same cooler.
a good day's play.
Drinking from the same cooler.
Yeah, while you home catching a heart attack and you vex with the West Indies. Good? You vex with the West Indies. Mark Waugh and Brian Lara chilling in the jacuzzi. Talk about, boy, I was a ball, you bowl, maybe, but that's a bad ball. You nearly bust my head. And that will hit you for 6 in the next over. But you home catching a heart attack. You home and you're vexed with Mark Waugh and you're taking up fire rage. The pavilion must hold firm. See through the games. See through the politics. See through the sportsmanship. And not get polarized. If we have a call, take the call.
Caller, welcome.
Yeah, man. Welcome. I tried my best. It's been a long time. Anyway, good afternoon.
Pleasant good afternoon to you.
Devon, and good afternoon, Romaldo.
Yes, good afternoon.
All right. All your conversation sending my mind to think what I never thought before. Here what's happening. One of the things that I really ain't hearing at all is the basic ministry that this whole project, even from the crash program, the Jude, then it comes to this, the basic ministry that it originally was under. I mean, I hear you say the rural development. Is that a ministry or there is a department?
That ministry, I think it was under utilities when it started, public utilities when it started in its first incarnation. But right now, I think it's under rural development ministry. That is, I mean.
Do you really believe? Listen to those two names. Do you really believe that a subject we're supposed to be under works should be under those? You see, I dealing with ministries as we talk already, 12 and so forth. And when I consciously look at the thing well, I already believe that is work. That is labor. That is work. So if you are within the place where it have labor, and place where it have labor is under works. Now, really, it works is a ministry or however it may be, a department, whatever. They're supposed to be able to have different departments of what they call a works ministry. So put that in rural development or utilities. Where's utilities? Utilities is your water bill, all them kind of things. So when labor doing this? Labor supposed to put them people towards the or playing the union, whatever the situation is. Same thing like rural development. Rural development, yes, the workmen will have to go there, but the place who have to be sending them there, so which means works ministry is a broad ministry. A ministry that's so broad, it almost holds even the public ministry and all. Plus it broad. Because that is like everyone. So, in the first instance of this program started, we may be quite here now, maybe we never knew. But in the first instance, it started bad. So that eventually, what you saying coming down from the PNM to the UNC and to the PNM and it going back to the UNC, right now, this is a kind of like a scattered. The brother who is in labor right now, he in a wilderness. He in a wilderness because he had to reconstruct things that he would never to reconstruct because he had to totally put that on a ministry right now and make sure that ministry, like I say, works just now. I don't want to tell the people and them what to do. But the fact remains is this lackadaisical attitude like what we was talking yesterday when the people on top don't care about you being lower, you can't ask them no question, them do what they want to do, which is what they're doing for the longest time. So we find ourselves in a position that we don't know which ministry is holding what. This is the reason why I tell you that we start at 12 and things, so we go set with things here, so we go know from the shadow government ministry, all we're going in the ministries of the you and the brother alone can't do that work. That work had to happen with a sort of a group to every ministry, congress, and everybody in the own group dealing with that. Because, and when we deal with that in that way, them can't tell me nothing because there is only one person on top of it where we dealing with. So it's a whole high thing. Anyway, you know what way to call the number in front of your face. I think you're supposed to have a number in front of your face. It's supposed to be my number. I'm talking to you.
All right.
Call it.
Yeah, I see. All right.
Call it.
Thanks,
call
caller.
it. And it's a reason why I asked you to do that.
All
Call
right.
it.
Blessings to you. Good. Will do. Yeah. I think what the caller is looking at, again, he's advancing the conversation into what is the nexus, you know, where we should place this thing, how it should be structured and so forth, yeah? It is under, to a large extent, and again, it's how the government, the executive visions the thing. They say local government, rural development, to a large extent, deal with sanitation, the environment in communities at a localized level, yeah? And if CPEP to some extent and URP, Unemployment Relief Program to some extent, deal with the sanitation and the environment, you understand? It speaks to a large extent to rural development in a confined area where you have the corporation, the regional corporation and the boroughs and so forth to deal with that. And it's when it was in local government, then it moved across. I know why it was in utilities. I never understood that. Now it's in rural development, and so CPEP that is. URP, I don't know what URP was in Ministry of Works and so forth. So I think we really had to conceptualize what is the outcome we're looking for, and then design the whole thing to get that output, and
well,
so the shift in sign will
well,
be
my bias will be different. My bias will tell me, I don't care where you put it. I want to know what's the purpose.
Well, that's how we have to align it. Only when you know the purpose.
That is my
because
question.
You want to put it under Ministry of Legal Affairs.
What do you want from these workers? What do you want from them? And how do you see them? Is it a revolving door?
Yeah.
Do you really see it as developmental? Or is it welfare? Because they're different, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
If it's welfare,
this is it. So
it's welfare.
That is the quagmire we're dealing with, because lack of communication coming out from the batsman, be it labor or the batsman from the PM office. We don't know.
And that's why I was saying yesterday that I prefer not to have looked at the contract as is. Unless you're taking matters to the High Court and you're dealing with breach of contract, which is strict.
Well, I see,
right?
I see some people going to the court
right,
already.
Which is strict, right? But in the other place, the court will examine how you treat the worker, not what you write on that paper, you know. What was your relationship between you and I? Yes. What did I provide for you? What you did do
have
for
to
me?
Be examined.
What did he,
agreed.
What were the promises made? What were the unspoken things? What were the expectations? A lot of these things not written, you know. You ever see some of them contract?
Yeah, you say.
Some of them contract on copybook
so we
page.
are in Norman practice now.
Good. And convention.
Convention. Yeah.
So, putting those legalese and, you know, those industrial relations and HR issues aside, my question is, what do you want from these workers? Do you want them to be productive members of society
with the end in mind,
that filter and grow, or you're really giving a man
I'll give one example. I'll give you one example how we move off the mooring sometimes. And I was just fortunate to be around Netco, for example. Netco intention, to a large extent, again, develop entrepreneurs by, availing them with some funding and so forth. I remember when it started, the late Captain P.M. Manning said, you can use a culture you wanted to create, because entrepreneurship is really a behavior, is a culture you want to create in persons. And he said, if you have a fridge, home, and a bicycle, you can use that as security, You understand? Because you want you to understand the concept of finance now. I need to go to the bank to get a loan and so forth. How do I get this loan to start my business and so forth? And I think Netco started under Sergeant, this school of training the persons who would have borrowed money for their business, how to do a little bit of management and a little bit of this and a little bit of that and so forth. And it stayed on its course, but yes, I put it through some litmus tests while the batsmen were in office, and I realized it shift from its mooring to a large extent. You see, we were trying to, I shouldn't say we, the executive at the time was trying to build entrepreneurs, not using the bank's stringent policy, because the bank's lending is already to develop entrepreneurs, The bank is not a social service or social program, They're into that, The government had a responsibility in their mind that we, yes, must take the initiative in terms of policy and set up an organization to create entrepreneurs that will go outside here and start developing into, medium and macro industries and so forth. And Netco was a vehicle, because that average fella could have never gone to the bank and get a loan. You ever try to get a loan to the bank for business? We'll get into that one of these days when that battle taking place with finance minister. And understanding that way back when, contractors back then, who instead of get a contract with AGC, couldn't get a loan in the bank to facilitate the execution of their contract. So all that was understood. So that was the visioning in terms of, okay, how do we shift the paradigm? Netco, we create Netco. Yeah? And Netco was to facilitate The question, if you go at Netco now, it's way off the original mandate in terms of helping develop entrepreneurs the way it's supposed to. It come like it's had behave like a bank, in my understanding, I said that people retire from bank, they put in Netco. So all them was trained and tooling is bank policy and bank procedures, so Netco is now behaving as a bank. That was this more, its purpose and intent. You cannot behave from the place we're trying to move people away from to develop them. Is a financial development organization that lend whole hand, I just call it the whole hand bank, that hold your hand and walk with you as you develop your business.
So let me ask you, they didn't have the vision to create the little DSS in them time there? Only they had that vision.
What is that?
Because if only had that vision to create that little susu,
what is that?
More of us would have win, We'd have get you.
What is that? You
talking about bank and stringent measures. I thinking the susu, if we did get in when we still get in, things would have been nice. But I get your point. I get your point.
Why is there a lot of these institution organizations started off with good intentions sometimes, yeah? And along the way, it morphs and it changes into other things, but because the people, when we look at when it started, the people with the vision not around anymore.
And this is why labor has a serious responsibility to the country and the workers, because who suffers?
Worker all the time suffers.
When these things change and when you didn't sign what you were supposed to sign and you didn't put things in place, who suffers?
Always the worker.
Always the workers. Yeah. And people have to understand, then the union is charged with responsibility of picking up the pieces. You hire a bad worker.
Yeah.
He get him because the auntie is a big somebody.
Yeah.
He didn't have the qualifications, the training, nothing. After a while, he started to perform in the organization. You know how to defend him?
Union.
A union.
But you started the problem.
You
created the monster.
You want to get rid of him now.
Yeah.
Your recruitment off.
Oh, yeah.
your policies off, all kind of favor, nepotism.
Yeah.
And the worker
training and retraining, no retooling.
Nothing. And the worker has become
no
progressively
HSE equipment, so when he fall and damage his foot and he stand up, now you're vexed with him.
Well, you know how to deal with the problems, you know who's going to defend him?
The union.
The union. Who hired him? The union?
No.
All right. Okay.
Who shift away from the employees' terms and conditions that he agreed to? You, management.
Correct.
And this why I work with an organization many years ago, and I smile. I always use it as a lesson today. Being I at 22, I was involved in the trade union movement. And
you were butler, right?
Well, interestingly, I got.
Or you were Weeks?
Wait, I got into the union just as Weeks was stepping from the chair. Errol McLeod was walking into the chair. I was in the general council at that time. I was in the general council of the OWTU.
Oh my God!
During the time of
the Blue
Jersey, when
the Blue
Errol
Brigade.
McLeod, I remember, I remember some of the guys there, Russo, we had Man, we had Trumpet,
right?
We had Cecil Paul, and those guys. I was there the night in the general council.
Like Jerry Kangali too.
Wait. I was there in the night. You remember the Maxima and OWT and the Maxima with Cecil Paul and Errol McLeod and Bacchanal, and why he buy the car from Neil and Marcy and he import the car. I was there.
Teddy was in that group too?
Yeah.
Teddy Belgrave? But you have good stock. I watch your slide.
So this
somebody signaling me with the cooler. And I had a long day with very engaged.
And this sun hot. There's something.
So I hope there's something a little lime, a little something, a little.
Yeah.
What you say?
We're going to quench with thirst. Yeah, we're coming back just now. Let me drink something and come back.
After the break.
In a break.
You've got bills to pay. And so do we. Let's go pay some bills on the street 919 FM.
Attention business owners. Are you looking to reach a vast audience and boost your brand's visibility? Then look no further. The Street 919 FM is here to help you shine. With over 170,000 followers on our social media platforms, our radio station is the perfect platform to showcase your products and services. Join us and let your message be heard by thousands of eager listeners. Contact us now to learn more about our affordable advertising packages. Don't miss out on this incredible opportunity to connect with your target audience. Advertise with the Street 919 FM today. For more information, call 399-5959, 384-2232 or 378-1470.
Are you tired of scratching the surface? Do you want to understand the real forces shaping Trinidad and Tobago? From the delicate dance of our energy sector on the global stage, to the geopolitical shadows behind the crime affecting our streets, we dig deeper. The third umpire goes beyond the headlines. We connect the dots between local challenges and the international currents that truly impact your life, your wallet, your security. Join Stephen Matheson, Selvin Mitchell, and Ronaldo Rollux, 3 employment law and human resource management consulting professionals, as they unpack the complexities, analyze the power plays, and reveal the often hidden realities. Understand the game. Understand your role in it. The third umpire, critically analyzing Trinidad and Tobago's economic and political realities on how they affect your daily lives. Tune in Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. on the Street 919 FM. Don't just listen to the news. Understand it.
We rollin' big when the jackpot hit. We rollin' big when the jackpot hit. We rollin' big when the jackpot hit. Play way fast cash, that is the fit. We rollin' big. Fast cash and play way take win. No extra spend, just vibes and luck. Play way and fast cash turn up. We rollin', yes we rollin' big. Fast cash and play way take win. Mega mix or monster pick. Jackpot from 10,000 quid.
Jackpot starting at $10,000 have now been added to NLCB's Playway and Fast Cash games. Wager on Playway Mega Mix or Fast Cash Monster monster draw for a chance to win the jackpot after every draw. Don't miss out. Visit nlcbgames.com for details. Players must be 18 or older. Please play responsibly.
Whoever said Messi was a bad thing totally missed the point. Take that hit song everyone loves now. It probably started like this. Baby, calm down. That's why KFC is celebrating the messy moments with our Messy Cruncher and Messy Zinger sandwiches for only $34.95. Imagine a crunchy, golden brown, flavorful chicken sandwich sauced to perfection with our signature sweet, spicy, tangy sauces. Oh boy. So crunch into the deliciously messy moments today. Check socials for details. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
Big up to all the C students, you did it. Whether you're celebrating big wins or just proud of the journey, KFC is here to crunch with you. For one day only, this Friday, July 4th, get 7 pieces of chicken and 3 sides for just $99. Available via all ordering channels. Celebrate new beginnings with KFC. It's finger-licking good.
Get hot this summer. Oh no, we mean HUT, as in hot days mean hot deals with Pizza Hut. Get 1 large pizza plus single breadsticks for only $135, or go bigger with 2 large pizzas, family breadsticks, and cinnamon rolls for just $290. All your favorite pizzas with all the toppings you love all summer long. So head to the Hut and get your hot deals while this offer is super hot. Pizza Hut, now that's delivering.
The Gap Man Limited specializes in products that cater to all your health needs. The Male Enhancement Package targets the areas of the body that contribute to erectile dysfunction. The Male Enhancements cost $1,400. The Gap pills are priced at 250 pills for $500 and 500 pills for just $900. For the best in eye care, get the super combination of a Super Bright and the Body Healer. To improve the heart's function and circulation, get the Gap pills and Formula C. To get a total body cleanse daily, use the Gap Body Healer and Big C, all for a super low price of $1,300. To order your products from the Gap Man Limited, call 628-4531 for products that cater to all your health needs.
For more info, contact 476-7268.
Planning your Tobago getaway? Choose the highest Google-rated car rental company on the island, O'Neill Auto Rentals Tobago. Located just minutes from the A&R Robinson International Airport, at O'Neill, we pride ourselves on being the most tech-savvy car rental company in Tobago. Our process is 100% digital. No paperwork, no long lines. From easy pickup to seamless returns, renting a car in Tobago has never been simpler. WhatsApp us now at 1-868-361-1042 to book your vehicle. Don't forget to mention promo code RADIO2 to receive a 5% discount on your rental. Send a WhatsApp message to 1-868-361-1042 today. That's 1-868-361-1042. O'Neill Auto Rentals Tobago, the easiest, most reliable car rental experience on the island.
Vehicle availability is subject to change. Driver must be at least 25 years old and have a valid driver's license to book. For more information, visit www.rentalcartobago.com.
It's in the feeling in our we talk. It's in the meaning in our spark. It is the thing that sets us apart. Who we are. 'Cause the rhythm of life keeps pumping. Together going strong. No matter what, we keep things flowing. Before we will go all in. Our hands up in the sky. Celebrating. Come let your rhythm flow.
So line up, link up, creep up, rock and come in. It's all about the fastest growing reggae show in the land without a doubt. Reggae Rock Sundays on the Shit 919 FM with yours truly, MC Duke and Selector Kochi on the ones and twos. So make it a date and don't be late. 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. right here on the Shit 919 FM. Got 'em our way, King Selassie.
Share the live. Share the live. The Street 919 FM on Facebook and Instagram. Share the live. Iowa George on Instagram. Share the live. Iowa TV and Street TV on YouTube. Share the live. The Street 919 FM.
We are back. I just want to conclude. I was saying, in this organization, during a negotiation, we said we're going and work to rule. We are doing overtime and we are doing this and we are cutting the grass and we are painting the building. Man, all the one we work to rule, and the company say, we hire you all to work to rule, you know. They want to let you to come here and work to rules. You understand? So a lot of time, the only time a worker doesn't work to rule to a large extent is when the management allow or change the rule, not in writing, no, change the behavior, not the rule of the worker. You understand? When chaos reigns. So if there's a matrix in which you use to employ persons, and you went all over the place, hire all kind of people and all kind of thing, and when audit come now, or when service is not being delivered, the first person you want to retrench is the worker. You start bad. You started bad, but I started the program by talking about the State Enterprise Performance Monitoring Manual that have the role and responsibility of the management, and they can be held accountable, but for some reason nobody don't see them. They like the hidden hands of mischief. They do all the shenanigans. Yes? And when things go right, well, let's send them 20 workers now. Really? Yeah, caller here. Caller, welcome.
Hi, good day, good day.
Pleasant good day to you, madam. Welcome.
I just studying these workers that were retrenched, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how unfair it is of them to be retrenched by this government. It puzzles me seeing that the only way you get a CPEP contract is if you are recommended by a minister directly, right? So is this to say that this present government would have used the clause where they could terminate just because PNM ministers would have awarded these contracts to these CPEP contractors? I feel it looks a bit like that, eh? So in order for them to get their people in now, they had to terminate the PNM people in order for the UNC people to be awarded a contract based on the recommendation of the current UNC ministers.
Why are you saying that it's policy that to get a CPEP contract, a minister have to recommend you, like government policy? I want to doubt that have a lot of bias. So if Chunko in office and I know a member of the Chunko crew, I got a CPEP contract.
Well, you can't just apply based on your own merits and performance as a contractor to be awarded a CPEP contract. You have to be recommended by a minister, so you do with that information as you please.
I hope that isn't the way forward, that we bring balance and transparency to the process, because it's the people's purse. It's not the executive money, it's ours, and we as a people must hold the executive accountable for fair play. For fair play, we're all on sundry in this great country of ours are concerned. Yes.
And let's see if when UNC wins, if everybody truly wins and they were just trying to clean up the CPEP company, or if they would have just evacuated PNM people to put UNC's financiers in positions of winning.
Left and right hand. Okay. Appreciate your call. You're too kind. Thank you very, very much.
You're welcome.
Before I say what I'm going to say, just correcting the caller, it's not retrenchment, it's really termination, you know. They wouldn't be retrenched. That's not retrenchment. But like terminate, that's retrenchment is a termination, it's a dismissal actually. The only dismissal at no fault of the employee. That's what a retrenchment is, but this is not a retrenchment. But anyway.
But did the contractor dismiss the employee? Did he fire his employee?
No.
Well, then the employee still employed then.
No, but I don't have a contract. Remember, you have a contract.
No. You see, we can't tap, you know. A CPEP contractor is not limited to only cut grass or clean the dirt or clean the drain for CPEP only. He's a contractor. He have a contract with CPEP. He have a contract with CPEP. He's not only obligated alone to work for CPEP.
So
we had a broad-based thing.
Excuse me, sir. These guys are CPEP contractors, full stop. Right? They're not that.
They are contractors with CPEP.
That is about it. Some are no contractor, some is tractor. But let me leave that. As of midnight tonight,
Talk to me about midnight.
As of midnight tonight.
As the night set and the dawn seek to bring its presence before us, what will happen?
Some parents will be happy. Some children will be happy. Some may not be so happy. We should have the SAA results later tonight. And if I find any slip lying on the floor, I may go down to Movie Town, where the celebrations take place en masse. The celebrations, these children head down to Movie Town tomorrow.
What's happening?
Stay away from Movie Town tomorrow.
Moody will be down.
If not Moody, Foodie. Foodie will be in Movie Town. Don't go down there tomorrow. If you know a good thing, don't go wrong there. Celebrations, merriment.
Galore.
Yeah, so these kids in Maine have worked hard, no matter what the results are.
Yeah.
And the sigh of relief, the getting past the gate, I get through. Mommy, I get through. Daddy, I get through.
Yes, yes.
The sigh of relief from that type of anxiety. I can't remember what happened after common entrance. I remember we went home. I had to go straight home after school. Then I had no Movie Town to go. And you couldn't stray. Because, you know, so they're a little sophisticated now. You're coming online, you could log in.
Yeah.
My login was mommy and daddy out the gate, by the gate.
You think about the principal.
So it have, in those days, it had two assembly. They have assembly with the children in the school, in the schoolyard, and the parents in the back.
Yes.
The parents in that assembly, shh, you're talking too much.
Yeah.
Because somebody just calling out names on a list. Wow. When you're reflecting on what type of anxiety that would have formed for children who may not have been so strong or for whom the expectation. Listen to me, that real pressure, you know. You listening to it, it's like you ever try and get a standby flight to go to Tobago and you're hearing name call. You're imagining you're hearing your name.
Yeah.
Long ago, or not so long ago, because I young anyway, but you stand up there and you're listening to the principal calling out Abigail Murray, Sean Lockhart, Luke, and calling out, and you just waiting. But you understand the sequence, alphabetical order, so the children don't kind of know well. W, U, A, B, C.
Coming down to me.
You're coming down to me. You're coming down to me.
I get my first choice, boy.
Gosh,
I get my second choice, boy.
First choice and second choice, boy.
But you know, back in my time, in our time, you either pass or you fail, eh?
Wow.
You fail, you had to go up to, I think, standard 6 and standard 7 and so forth. So you had to pass to feel like you accomplish, you know. It didn't have all of we win, you know. All of we win, no, all of we win.
So we taking, as we talk here today, we taking some exhibition or common entrance or SEA stories. That feeling, when you call, tell us how you feel briefly. Don't carry down from Genesis, please. Let me get the New Testament coming up.
When you pass common entrance, what was the feeling?
Yeah, what was the feeling that day? I don't know how the method was. Some callers have a different group and they might have gone through a different process.
Yeah.
I don't know. You understand? But I remember that anxiety. You're tense. You want to know. You want to know, but you don't want to know.
You're going to write common entrance. You're leaving home to write the common entrance. They call it C now or something like that.
Yeah.
C, right?
Yeah.
And your parents make sure you get up.
How much pencil you have?
Boy, and the thing and they comb your hair. Make sure I say a fashion show good, neat your clothes, iron crisp.
And they have to say a prayer with you.
Yes, you say a prayer.
With you.
And thing you kneel down with them.
As a matter of fact, I went to an RC school, so I think we went for ashes or some kind of thing.
I went to Methodist school.
We went in the church for blessing. So the guy who didn't get through, He didn't be lesson didn't work.
He probably didn't pray.
You see how we just confuse the children. You see how we the messages. But I remember the anxiety, boy. Yeah. The anxiety. You could picture joy and sorrow in the same camp.
Yes. Yes.
In the same camp.
Yes.
Because while you jumping up and down, Tom going in the toilet and he come back now. Because Tom done studying the ring ears. The ring ears. This age you're taking away your phone.
Yeah.
You're taking away your device. Put down the tablet.
In children today, that anxiety still exists because it's a human
By and large.
condition.
And it's even worse because now you have social media. The pressure is by 5.
But is it really worse now? Because whether or not I get 5, I still going to high school and I get a laptop. So I go back to my time.
Right.
Either you pass or you fail. So when you go in a school and you train in standard 6, you call them 90 don't say train them, they can't pass, come on and train in standard 6 and standard 7 and so forth. They have to do school living and so.
Yeah.
So the pressure is on you had to pass to feel you belong.
Listen to me, it's a lot of pressure on those kids.
No.
Those students.
Now, the challenge now is really which school are we going to? It's not so much I'm not going to, you know. You are going to big school. You're going. It's just which one you're going to and so forth. But I look at something the other day in the education system and they're doing this analogy.
Yes, let me hear the caller.
Caller, tell me about that common entrance experience.
That's a long time ago, quite 60 change, you know.
Well, tell me. Tell
but
us.
The truth is in my day, well, you go dress up nice and things, which is a normal factor to everybody because you're going common entrance.
Right.
But I thought I was bright. so I didn't have this kind of jiggery.
So you was confident.
You want to know, well, because in the head, you have the work for your thing, well, you will pass it. Now, when you reach to the exam now, it might be as how you thought it was. So now you have to face what you're seeing in front of the paper. And well, I ain't gonna lie, you go have thing where you could do that thing where you might think you could scribble too. But all in all, the percentage of work that I put down before, I believe it could happen, I'm going to come out with something.
Right.
When time for the paper is now, me come out with nothing. But here's what I'm telling you. Your students like, and them days,
Yes.
Them days are talking about, here the kind of days are talking, I said, like 60 change, you know. Them days you're telling yourself, well, it's hierarchy, and you've seen it too.
Yeah.
Hierarchy children that get into, and poorarchy children ain't getting through. So, well, I read 60 years now and I could remember them days. Now, all you might be talking about all your days coming down the line here now, which will be kind of different because them children will coming down these days now, they're beating children bad and they're treating children in a kind of way to make sure they pass. They were them, and long time, my mother wanted me to be a doctor, father wanted me to this. I can't make that. But you can't, you see them children nowadays, they go have someone at the sick collect. But there's some parents nowadays want the children to come out to so much less. Them children will be timid when they go in school.
The pressure on the children.
Yeah. But anyway, don't forget to call me. I need you to.
Definitely, yes. Yes, we'll do. Okay.
Prezi said the powers he thought he had, he didn't have.
He did.
No, we laughing at it, but we laughing at it just satirically. But we remembering the pain.
Bro, the pressure was on because it's when you have all your brother and sister before.
Oh, I know good to say that.
In my family, I'm the last one, eh?
I'm in the middle.
I'm the last one. So here we going on, brother. You had to pass, you know?
Yeah, but you have to pass for the same school or better.
Don't pass, sir.
Because if you pass for the same school, the economics of it, I am one of 7 working out, you know. You can't go, your brother's going QRC, you can't go Barataria. How will the khaki pants, listen, how will the khaki pants
pass down?
Pass down. There's a different syllabus, a whole different, like when is PTA meeting?
Can't be going through the process.
Can't be going to the. So there was a lot of pressure on you.
Yeah.
There was a lot of pressure to perform, to achieve.
I think now we may have some good intention, but our application or how we roll it out, because the analogy I saw, I think is a popular one that's all over the place, that says you cannot have an education system who measure all children with the same matrix, because they had a race with a turtle, a monkey,
right,
a fish,
right,
a lion, and some other animal, but they give all of them the same race to run.
Yeah.
Climb the tree.
Yeah.
So what they're trying to say is that all children are not made equal.
Yeah.
They're not cultured the same way.
Yeah.
The access to resources are not the same. Yeah. And therefore, that we have to measure those things and do the analysis to know how to so guide children where their strengths are.
Yes.
Yeah. I remember many years ago, I think it came back recently, I was on some committee ones that looked at, you have certification, where we have theoretical certification and practical certification based on your skill set and so forth. Yeah? So in looking at modern day education system, the dynamics or the matrix in which we measure how we guide children towards education or advancement or the acquisition of knowledge must be tailor-made based on their inkling to the larger. You know, some people are extremely good with their hands and so forth, and some just good with books, but their mechanical skills are wanting. Yeah? And you find that, and we have to balance it and not frustrate the man who's good with his hands, but he can't remember them Boolean mathematics and so forth, you know. Right? You telling him about Pythagoras theorem, what are you, who? And so forth. But tell him build a house and he'll build the most beautiful house for you. And the fella who could do all the formulas, he can himself make cement stick to a concrete wall. We have to look at that. In some countries, this was it Denmark I was looking at relative to education, where they allow and they do what we call scrutinize the children's behavior during play, to see what their affixation or their affiliation or what they align themselves with. There are some children generally sit down and just read a book, but there's some will go out and play cricket. Some will go out in the bush and look for the insects and so forth by general nature. Yeah? And in that regard, they start to position people where their strengths with children, where they see the strengths are, but it comes with passion, really, to do that and not say, we do it as a walla walla thing. This is the education system, this is the book, this is the textbook. Well, everybody read the same textbook, and we expect we can't be, really. I'm just taking a simplistic, common sense approach to what I'm saying. I could go deep down into the science of training and development of an individual or a child when it comes to education. We could dive deep down in it, but on a surface thing, we had to ask ourselves, what we doing really making sense in terms of children development?
The pressure of SEA. We want to know. 342-0081-466-5391. Common entrance exam. How was it for you? You had it all together?
Like everybody in the pavilion pass had it easy.
The pavilion, I want to hear from them, you know. They're talking all kind of CPAP. They go, oh, we reached there. You understand? But tonight, a lot of children will be very anxious.
Yeah.
You know, quiet, they ain't coming out of your room. No. Yeah. You hungry? You ice cream?
No, no appetite.
No appetite.
Yeah. Caller, welcome. Afternoon, caller. Evening. Oh, it's past 6. Good evening, caller.
Already.
Yes.
I couldn't believe it, sir.
Yes, I know what you clocked there.
Yes, that is a nice topic. But one of the things we have to realize that the children's education do not start like in school and things like. You remember the first classroom is the mother's womb.
Yeah.
Okay? Your first teacher is your mother. And a lot of people do not look at it when they talk about their children, whether they're good, bad, and different. And when he was 10, he was this, but I realized when he was, you know what I mean? And from the time a child is born, I always go back to my father, remember, but I don't know. From the time a child is born, he has learned already from in the months before he was born. And he learned from the time he's born, he's learning. Like people just put down a child and think a child is just like a dolly or some kind of thing, you know. The greatest amount of education you can get is your first year. Do you know that? Because that's when, you don't know.
But do you think that first year, those preparation for the 9 years,
and everything you will learn in life, you will know when you're 5. Before you're 6 years old, you have already learned everything you learn in life. It's just that it will be developed. But you already, it's in you. That's why some people are pianists and all kind of things, golfers, and it doesn't start when they're 9 and 10.
Yes.
Sometimes from the time they hold a racket, some people, as you say.
Yes.
And then that's what we don't look. You don't look at a 2-year-old. You see they're writing or they're reading or they like insects, as you said. Yes. You will pick up a bug, you will put back, and that's where Lego stems from.
Yes.
Remember, some toy makers bring children into babies, not big children, 3 and 4, and give them a thing to mash up and see how they'll build it back up.
Yeah.
See how they will build it.
Construct.
So what I'm saying is, we don't have to wait. A lot of people wait till CE exam. I remember my niece went to school at 4 years old. They came to the auditorium, and you know what the headmistress said? She told those babies, this is the first year of your common entrance. This is your first class of your common entrance, the first year of your common entrance class.
Mm-hmm.
And you already saying at 4 years old, you are what you write, you read, you first A, you make, you B. Well, and you remember we came to school already reading and things too, eh? You remember?
Yeah.
Because in long time days, I find children take long to read now, but you remember in our day, when you go to school already, even if it's verses from the whatever, whether your mother and father could read or write, you know to read or write, even before you go to school, before you enter, that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
3 years old. You know? So, and you have to tell them, some people wait till common entrance. Oh gosh, I'm in common entrance, never learn. What are you learning? You had 5 years to sit down in a school on common entrance. It's when you should be kicking ball and enjoying yourself because you're going, you know what I mean?
Okay, thanks,
you can't now learn what you were supposed to.
Thank you,
No,
excellent.
And that's why some people take children out to play and all kind of thing before when it's common entrance time. It's not supposed to be book because you have already prepared and learned for the last. That comes just like the administration. You know, like how the people want them to do this and they want them to who are the executive, they want to do this. No, you have 5 years. You have to be looking at your member of parliament and all that to see how he is as a person, how he moves, how he walks, how he talks, how he...
But Caller, tell me something. Were you part of the common entrance system in Trinidad?
Yeah, I mean, I...
And how was it? Because we're really trying to figure out how was it that...
It have no comment with me. No, listen to me. Now, you're speaking to somebody. You shouldn't be speaking to me. I wait to hear other people.
Yes.
Because I'm not a good student. I was born, you could say before common entrance, but anyway, I was born in 1949.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right, Caller. Thank you.
That is nearly...
Yeah, okay.
Just now I'll be 80.
Okay.
So I don't think of common entrance.
Okay.
That's why I'm telling you. Our day,
Thanks, Caller. Good. Okay.
Right?
Right. Thank
you know what learning. But,
thank you.
But common entrance shouldn't be a bad thing for children. They should take away the angst, the worries from children, I find.
Thank you.
The common entrance.
All right, thank you.
know?
Good, yeah. Interesting. Oh, we are caller 80 something. When you caller?
Yeah, and caller said she was, but this, we have another call.
Yeah. Caller, we talking common entrance. Talk to us.
Hi, hi. Good afternoon, everybody.
Afternoon.
To all the umpires, to
Evening.
the umpire, and everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I pick up the gist of what you're saying. So most of the time, as the end of the veto, but for me, the common entrance, I'm 51, so I would have wrote common entrance in 85.
Okay.
And I have children now. They are adults. And they were doing CSEC, on the CSEC, SEME, my mistake, sorry about that. And hearing how they would have said it when you analyze how it was structured, I would have written back then. So it was a little different because we had multiple choices. They had to write essays and so forth and all things. But I felt to a certain extent what the caller before was saying, it has to start from the beginning, from the inception. I can't wait to see you run. You're running down something and wow, boy, this person can run fast. Wait until he or she.
Well, as one who did common entrance, we would like to know about your experience. Your experience that day you wrote common entrance and the day you wrote for result. I want to know about you. How are you? Your experience.
No, I now understand.
Your experience, are you?
Well, that day it was I don't know nerve-wracking. But my parents would have told me. My parents and my eldest brother said, listen, go. You tried. When I said tried, meaning you did your best.
Yeah.
When it comes to that period, that 5-year or 7-year period, just go and do what you can.
Okay.
The best of your ability.
And what about the night of the result now?
Well, I was a little disappointed because I would have passed for career up junior second in content because
right.
In those days you want to go to a prestigious school and this, but at the same time too, my father said no. He said this is the best you could have done. I'm not saying about the repeat.
Caller, before you go, where did you want to go? What was the big school in your era? Where were the minds of the kids or what was it?
Hillview College.
Hillview, okay.
I'm in the east, Hillview College.
You right, right. Good. Thanks,
All right,
caller.
let's take our next caller. Good. Caller, welcome.
I'm fine. This evening is good with the listeners on this program. Papa Henderson, right? I wrote SCA.
You wrote SCA?
I wrote SCA.
Okay.
And honestly, the nerves, I don't know. It's really based on your parents, because I had absolutely no nerves. I had no clue why my friends were so filled with anxiety on that day.
That's the truth.
My parents were there with me, and I passed my second choice, and I didn't know what schools I could go to about school, and I went to school and write the exam waiting on results. You know? The joy of SEA for me would have been after when I get to go to the mall and engage in all the free stuff again with the SEA. So look, I don't come attention.
Okay.
So we tend to get free food and ice cream and stuff like that this round.
Oh, you was looking forward for the ice cream.
Yeah.
Caller, but let me ask you this as you're on the phone. You choose them school or they choose them school for you?
I don't know what school was. I didn't know no school. I know I was going to school and that's it.
But this is sacrilege. Because you start off telling me you passed for your second choice. But now we hear you didn't choose
second choice.
Call, I think you need to file a complaint. Because you really wanted ice cream. Yes. Thanks for being honest. Thanks.
Yes.
So you see where the pressure coming from?
Yeah, thank you.
The pressure coming from home. All she wanted was her little ice cream.
Yeah.
And she doesn't know the difference between bishops,
so I wonder now,
Providence or convent.
That's an interesting call because how many parents made the choice for them and it wasn't what they
regardless
of what you like. You're too young to like. How you know what school you should go to as the adult? I should decide what school you go to.
Your venture into secondary school is where your brother and sister going in.
Yeah.
Nobody never take you to no school to visit no school for you to interview the teachers like you're going university to see what programs they have and what faculty, Write down that.
Yeah.
You're going by your sister, you're going by your brother.
Okay, cool.
Let's say a caller.
Caller, welcome.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Evening.
After hearing that, good evening, sorry.
Yeah.
After hearing that caller there, I wonder if I should call and make a contribution.
Yes, man.
When the caller said they wanted ice cream, in my case,
yes,
I wanted to pass this common entrance real bad because my big brother,
right,
when he passed, he had to go to a school very far. And he used to be leaving home like about 5 in the morning, or maybe before 5. I know it was dark.
Wow.
When Franklin leave home. And the good thing is that every day this man going to school with bus.
Oh.
So he going to ride the bus twice for the day, when all I am accustomed to is walking to school.
Walking down the road.
Yes.
So you really wanted to ride the bus?
That is it. I didn't care about education and all this kind of thing. Or ice cream.
Prestige.
All I wanted is, if I pass this common entrance,
you could ride the bus.
I ride in bus every day. You understand? And I'm telling you the honest truth.
Thank you.
No.
Wow.
The teacher now, not the teacher, a teacher, one day called me and addressed me as Mr. Maloney. Yes, sir. I have to speak with you. I say, yes, sir. He said, yeah, what? You will not be able to do common entrance, because you are too old.
Just so?
Just so. So we will have to skip you from standard. We'll have to skip you and you'll have to go straight to standard 6.
Wow.
Whoa.
In those days it had 6 and 7.
Wow.
So I say, but when I go to standard 6, then what? Because the only thing that flashing before me
is the bus.
Is this bus, you know. What is going to happen with this bus? So he said, well, the thing you could do school even, and listen, man, that was taking a balloon and taking a pin.
Yeah, that's devastating.
And chucking that ball. That mashed me up bad, you know. All right, and that was just when school was about to close.
Wow.
So when school opened, I went to school okay, and they showed me where I stand. The only good thing now is that now my class is upstairs.
Right.
So upstairs, so looking to go upstairs now. So when the point where the class is, look, is a course there, so, and I see who is the teacher. I said, what? I said, no, cancel the pencil. Forget that. I made an about turn because as far as I'm concerned, Miss Morgan don't like my head at all. She don't like my head. I am not going in her class. Mind you, in her class is when I did my best and I came 6th in testing.
Wow.
Okay.
Because that is when the focus was on, boy, you have to try and pass this common entrance. You understand?
Yes.
So I didn't like her because I feel she didn't like me.
Right.
You understand?
Yeah.
So I went home. I said, Mommy, could I go and learn a trade instead of going to school because I'm not going to do it? She said, yeah, okay, all right. Because a couple of the guys in my area, they did that.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
They dropped out of school and they went and learned a trade, and some of them have garage, down them get contract government, come again. I went and lime all about. I do all kind of fitness, learn trade, what? You go to a man and you ask him, I want to come and learn. He said, okay, no problem. You ask him, well, what you'll be getting at the end of the week? He said, well, that will give you a little $5. And they say, okay, all right, if there's anything, I'll check you back. Because I did the math. I checked that $5. When I give mommy something from that $5, and I go Regal Cinema in a 1 p.m. by 55 cents. I buy a half pack of Dumoria for 75 cents. What will I remain with? I said, nah, this ain't making sense at all. So I never go and learn a trade at that time. And I was just wayward all over the place, you know, nothing. It's only when I was exposed to the truth about God and how God could change your life.
Right.
And then God helped me. I developed a skill And that's how I became a contractor. And my 3 sons, our 3 sons, you know, in those days when they had common entrance for those boys, everybody focused on a 7-year school, 7-year school, 7-year school.
Yes.
And thank God, all 3 of them were successful in going to a 7-year school. So I don't want to be longer, but I'm saying to the parents, please, even if the child didn't get your choice, because we choose for our boys.
Yes.
We choose because we feel we know the terrain, we know what it should be. All right? Please don't give up on them. Work with them. There are other areas that they might be able to still be successful in without coming out bandits.
Thank you, caller.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Yeah. Just before we take our next call, I want to know if you understand that for somebody who didn't do common entrance, the gentleman had a good understanding of maths.
Yeah.
So he was not a failure by any means. He understood that $5 after he go to cinema,
Regal,
buy a Regal, give mommy a little something, the maths and maths in. So education is a lot about what you learn after school or what you remember. You see how he can apply that? He wasn't in any class. And he was very true with his bus motivation. He wanted to ride the bus. A child.
Interesting motivation.
A child does want to go big school, you know. I don't know how much of them ever see the halls of St. Mary's and George's and all of this kind of. They just want to go big school. I want to wear long pants. I remember that was a thing, you know. You want to wear this short pants. You want to wear long pants. But if you go to school in a community, all of those things are far off. So the pressure that the children feel most times is external. Most times we're judging them by our own means, by our own failures, by our own insecurities, because in your mind you wanted to go Francois.
No, but
you wanted to go Francois in your mind, you know.
No, but picture this. Sometimes it's the community pressure that on the parents that says this.
That's true.
Well, he's a principal and the one's a teacher. You pass for a junior sec. You're embarrassed in this community.
Yes.
See, have a caller here.
Let's get a caller.
Caller, welcome.
Good evening to the umpires.
Yes,
so my experience, guys, is when I ride common entrance. Well, I grew up in a rural area, so my primary school was very small.
Right.
So after I rode common entrance and I passed, and I went to this big school, every day I used to feel sick because the school was too big. I never know about big school like that. When I see the size of that school, I say, but where are you?
You want to cry?
Yeah, but I tell you, I will cry every day. I don't want to go to school like my belly always waiting in the morning. I say, mommy, belly waiting, I can't go. And it affected me in plenty ways because, you know, studying wise and all that in school, and I always scared. I scared to even go in the toilet.
Wow.
Because then I seen these big kids and them moving 4 and 5.
Yeah.
I know I'm accustomed with big kids like that. Adults, I could say, I'm accustomed with primary school children, you know. And it's something that, you know, but I believe, guys, look at these children, they say cannot learn, right? They say these children can't learn and the feeling. But these same children will memorize 30 songs and sing it word for word.
True.
You ever hear them sing Cartel?
I don't understand a word, but they sing it.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah.
And they will memorize and recitate that song in their head, 30, 40 songs, different songs from different artists.
Yeah.
So I thinking if we change the way we teach,
good point.
And do it a little more better for the children, I think we could get through with them.
Good point.
All animals can't climb tree. All animals, fish can't climb. Yeah, you can't put all them in the same pond and ask them for the same outcome.
Good point.
You can't.
For the same outcome, because look, back in the day with my parents and them, why I think all these children are the most successful, and right now they in big position, you know. The teaching was different from now.
Right.
It was a little more focused. Now they just want to go through the curriculum quicker. And who cannot learn, don't learn, and who could learn, and they don't care.
Well, I don't know. Yes. Passion,
So,
long
all
term
right,
with
guys.
passion.
Thank you.
Thanks, my
guys.
friend.
All right, man.
So you see the realities of a rural school. The school too big. In town, you want to go big school.
Yeah.
But in the country,
I'll keep it small.
The school too big.
Caller, welcome.
Yeah, man. Yeah, again, I put in a little piece here.
Okay.
Right. You have a woman who talk, right? And all you had a nice conversation with she. When she was talking about the child in the belly and all of that.
Yeah. Yes.
From there, I pick up a conversation that I already calling all the time, but I didn't get through. But I get through now. See what happening here. Now at my 60 change, as I tell you earlier, I come through along the side of firstborn too. So in that respect, I will show you what is happening with we. It's very serious. The children learning, from the time they come out of the belly and they open up the eye and things, the problem is the parent. Hey, how? The human mind have a way to get interested in something early o'clock. If you watch the child good, you could see its intention, its intuition, its motive to move at something. Now if you groom that something, it will make a little develop. It could change over time too, because you have to remember change inevitable, and it will see different later and will able to move on to it. But the child from early o'clock, the cycle that's in that mind does basically know what it wants. But if you can't see that and don't try to help it to go to that, especially when that child wants something, the parent breaks him from you going there.
But Prez,
you could make a frustrated child.
That is the ideal situation. That is not what applies now. A lot of time, the parents more so is influenced by society and how they will look if all their children don't pass common entrance back then, or pass for junior sec. People feel they watch their neighbor. My child passed from what they call prestige school, they call it now. I don't know what that is. My class.
In plenty cases, yeah.
And so the pressure is on the children and so forth. Yeah. Let me take a next one there, Prez. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You understand what the pressure is? Yeah. So it's really a community. So it's not so much the child, you know. This is a trophy for the parents, which school the child passed for sometimes. Because how they feel within the community. You know, beating your chest, my child passed for a prestige school. So you work with your chest high in the community and so forth. You're proud that you will join the rest who pass for a non-prestige school, whatever that means. I don't know what it means, but there's a saying that we use. And the children are the pawn in the parents' idea of grandeur to a large extent. As we say, half the time we child himself know which school is which school. Child might like a uniform, but it might be a junior sec uniform he like. Yeah. Oh, I like how that shirt Jack does look, and I like that color. I want to go to that school, you know, man. You mad or what?
A lot of other aesthetics, you know, that children are into. Yeah. But the fuss and the anxiety and the doom and the gloom about what it will be and be not becoming life and all this kind of a thing. That's not a child discussion.
Yeah.
That's not a child's paradigm.
Yeah.
I just want to go. Let's take another call.
Caller, welcome. How's your common entrance experience, my friend?
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Evening.
Yeah. You know, I just noticed one of these days, if we get some people from the pavilion to come and play the game, we really will have a real nice game, you know.
Yep.
When I listen to the contributions coming out of the pavilion,
yes,
I feel it's time we have to find a way that the players get to sit down and watch the pavilion play.
Good idea.
I mean, when you really listen to the contributions coming from the people in the pavilion, it is be extraordinary and it is be mind-boggling how the player doesn't know these moves, doesn't make these plays,
Interesting. I understand what you're saying. Point. Good point. Good. Interesting.
Good school and bad school.
Yeah.
What children know about good school and bad school? And
who dubbed it that?
Yeah, and in that era, we could have seen a pattern. But I think that myth has been destroyed a long time ago. When we look at jobs and people who are successful, we look at sports, look at our icons today in music and otherwise. I mean, that criteria, but we're persistent on it. In no matter how options have changed and updated themselves, parents are still persistent on it. 7 year, and well, most schools are like that now. Before, in my time, you had to find out which school had sixth form.
Yeah.
Today's which school doesn't have it. Good, because you have to apply to get sixth form, and well, that's higher up in school. But let's look lower down the ladder. SEA, and you have to make a certain mark and all this kind of a fuss. But the schools I wanted to go, well, my case was different. But how many children have been to those schools that they tell them is their first choice? Because we learned from the callers that really and truly it's not their first choice. One wanted a bus, one wanted ice cream, one school was too big. Good.
How far removed from the exam, eh?
Yes, the pressure placed on these students to perform.
You have to pass, you know.
To conform.
Yeah.
And you have to pass for a good school.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
A good school, because it implies now.
Some school bad.
Not all school is school.
Yeah.
Not all schools are school.
So there's a level of what we call mental poisoning by the parents.
Yeah, and this society, as you say, that pressure that makes you feel
competition
that this is the channel to success.
Yeah.
This is the channel to success.
One Philip always mentioned about is Mukurapu. Caller, welcome.
I would just come back to say this. You see what you are saying about good school and bad school?
Yeah.
In my era, that was a predominant thing.
Right.
Because I attended Trinity. And if you go Arangwes or you go Mount Hope, you know that is a good school.
Right.
When I entered comprehensive, I went to St. Augustine.
Right.
So you know I get a good school.
Right.
Down now.
Right.
Yes. Wow.
So you
call
see, you have another call?
You get a phone call.
So and then so that is all.
Breaking up.
Caller breaking up.
Call us back, caller, if you want wish. Okay? You breaking up. So the caller said the good school and bad school was serious in his day.
Yeah.
Good school and bad school. Where you learn that from? You hardly know anybody going to school.
Caller, welcome.
Yeah, good evening, the umpires again. And one more contribution, right? The school that I passed for, right? I wasn't wearing a tie. My neighbor next door, he passed for school was wearing a tie. And every time I do, why didn't do like your neighbor? What you do? And that's why you start to deal with. All right, guys.
Thanks, caller. Thanks. Good. You see the peer pressure.
There was always somebody you were compared to.
Parents' pressure, we call it.
There was always somebody you were compared to.
Yeah.
That's what we're hearing here. And the children tonight, as we learn from the SEA caller, looking forward for tomorrow, going with a friend in the little movie town. But for some, that will not be as memorable as for others, because of the whole concept and the whole construct surrounding SEA and SEA results and types of schools, and it is uncomfortable. Some children will not sleep. Some children going to bed early too. Though I don't want to see when mommy log in. Nah? I don't want to see when daddy log in. And that is a different thing, because while we were in the schoolyard awaiting results to call, you home with your parents. You home with your parents. And you have to survive the night. Tell him or don't tell him.
As if you sleep.
You tell him now. Now we go tell him in the morning. I don't know how to tell him. You tell she. Nah, but if I tell she I want to sleep tonight. Now you go tell she in the morning. Parents going through that too, you know.
Yeah.
Parents going through that type of anxiety.
Caller, welcome.
Hey, good night, brothers. Now third umpire here, right?
Yes.
Right, man. I'm now going to tune in. So real quick, I know all the closing. I just want to say, I appreciate the fact that you guys trying to reinstill, from my opinion, reinstill that culture. Just reinstill positive values and mindset. Very, very refreshing and happy to hear that. So keep up the great work.
Thank you, my friend. Blessings.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Short and sweet. I like those deliveries. Come up and bowl. Yeah, we see the match winding down today. But tomorrow we have to revisit this. Tomorrow is the day.
Yep.
Tomorrow is the day we have to analyze this in full. Today was just a teaser.
Yeah.
So we want all callers to log on tomorrow.
The pavilion.
The pavilion.
It's your day pavilion.
Tomorrow. And shed some light, shed some hope, shed some direction for these children who, for some, don't know what the next step is.
Yeah. Who will feel a level of nervousness.
Correct.
When they see how big the school is.
Correct.
Yes.
And my best friend going so.
And I going so.
And I going so.
And 10 years we went to school together from
correct
kindergarten.
And I'm my best friend. And we put on the same school, you know.
Yeah.
We put on the same school.
How she read so and I read so.
How come she get she first choice and I get my fourth choice?
My brighter than she in school. I was come first in test, she has come fifth in test. How she get she first choice and I get my third choice?
Because remember, I want to be a doctor.
Yeah.
And they tell me if I want to be a doctor, I had to go convent. I ain't no doctor that went
junior sec.
Compre.
Yeah.
So the stories and the ideology that pervades today are the fault of we adults. Because as we learn today, children just want to eat ice cream and ride bus. And be merry.
Yeah, and go to a small school, a school that ain't too big.
So callers.
Pavilion.
You with the third umpires. Have a good evening.
Blessings to you all. We go on.
You've got bills to pay. And so do we. Let's go pay some bills on the street 919 FM.
Tune in to the Street 919 FM for Gospel in the Bone Ministry every Sunday from 7:05 a.m. to 8:55